Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to use the... Eric, do you want to use
Shotgun?
my Blue Yeti?
What?
Your Blue Yeti, my omnidirectional, just have it in the middle of the table?
Yes.
Oh, that would be
Yes,
awesome.
that'd be amazing.
That would be much better than what we're
Hello.
doing right
So,
now.
fun fact,
Fun fact.
because this is recording, I can't see the chat.
Oh.
Cool.
Oh, I'll give you my tablet.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let me go get my
do that.
Surface.
We're a very well-oiled machine. We've got it. We've got that.
We've been working on this
Very
for...
well oiled this morning.
Oh.
Oh. Oh. Josh, no, you are not on camera at all.
No.
Just how we like.
No.
Great. We have Havoc Payne, Caspian MK1, and Morgan Reynolds.
Hey guys.
Hey, everyone.
Good morning.
I guess I'll
Stall while we get our actual equipment down here.
Hey everyone! This is the part of the show that they don't see because Eric cuts it, where like we try like 15 times to do an intro.
Right. Yeah.
Hey everyone!
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
That's
Ooh.
That's
much
a
nicer.
That's a thing. That is one hell of a mic.
I'm sure this is very interesting to everyone watching this.
Hey, you never know.
Hey, they're the first ones. This is like the part of the party where you're the first people to show up.
Nothing's
Yeah.
ready.
Nothing's going on yet. They're like still bringing out bags of chips.
Yeah.
And you
So-
go like, "Can I help you with anything?"
So you like want a drink or something?
Yeah.
There's some drinks over there. I gotta move them out to the ice chest. So just help yourself.
Sorry, they're a little warm. So you haven't...
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't iced them yet.
A little warm. But we have some ice in the
We're gonna go
freezer.
offline for a second while I switch microphones.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
We won't do these
Every directional
Great.
at once.
all.
I might want to
Direction.
turn up the. Is there artist settings in this? They turn up the game.
Uh-oh. There it is.
Oh, yeah, that's mine too.
What's this mysterious bump?
What's this bump? It's
Cancer!
Cancer.
I almost named coughing cancer.
Yes. So whenever I don't have a audiobook or a podcast to listen to, I've started listening to like stand up.
Oh,
And, like Jim Gaffigan talks about food a lot.
That's his
That's his
whole
thing.
shtick.
That's his whole
That's
thing.
his shtick.
I know, but it's like a lot. It's like food for like 95%. But like the last 5% is like
I hate my kids.
yeah, pretty much.
I once saw him go for like a solid 15 minutes just about bacon.
Yeah.
Like just
Or ketchup.
or ketchup. It's like he'll just for some reason he's able to just go for extended periods of time about one subject.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their thing.
Yeah.
His
I
thing
watched
His thing
the
was food.
latest Louis C.K. On Netflix.
Oh yeah, how's that?
What do you think?
Not great.
Not great.
Really?
It was just kind of him just like Louis C.K.'s always just kind of angry and like, but this one is just not.
Is there a chance that Louis C.K. is overrated?
I think so.
I think so. I've never
I've
actually
actually never thought he was
like.
great.
I think he has some good bits, but I never really thought he was like
I think
the
he's-
genius
He's
that a lot of
too
people.
like mad and sad for
I think
me.
he's what?
I think he's a funny writer. I don't think he
What?
performs his jokes as well as other
He's too
comedians.
mad
agree
and
with
sad
you.
for me.
No, he
He is.
He's a
He's
mad, sad man.
I mean, yeah, he.
Yeah,
makes
maybe
me
it's a
sad.
shtick that I don't like.
Here,
I don't
while we're
like
waiting,
the,
put your mics
Oh,
back.
yeah.
I don't like the middle-aged sad guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we live?
Because
Speaking
Jim
of-
Gaffigan does it with
Yeah.
humor and like I've
Self-deprecation and
Yeah.
it's. You know what
Hey,
is good is I don't know, does
Uh,
anybody watch Dave Chappelle's
Oh,
new
yeah.
special?
No,
No, but I've heard stuff about
I
it.
heard
I liked it.
heard the first one's really good, and I haven't seen the second one.
I only watched the first one and I enjoyed it.
You guys were live.
Right? How do you feel about Dave Chappelle?
What?
We've
In
been
memory of.
Yeah, I know.
Oh god.
I've been trying to tell you that.
All right.
So here's what you do: you grab her.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is our live stream.
Live tonight.
Any?
Are we live?
Yes, we're live. I've said
Hey
that every time.
everyone! Welcome
We've
to
been
the
live for
live
like 8
stream.
minutes.
Welcome to our live stream. Hope you enjoyed those 8 minutes of behind the scenes. Now
Extra liveness.
we're here to answer your questions about threshold and what we do while we put away our other microphones.
But it's new, cool, better
we post some
microphone.
links to the rest to our channel on the stream.
It's on our
Oh,
channel.
it's
It's
from
on
our
our
channel.
It's from
It's
we're on
YouTube Live.
we're YouTube.
Live from our
YouTube
basement.
streaming.
From beautiful downtown Burbank.
And now here's our host, Stephen Wardo.
Hey, now you gotta do the opening monologue.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, I know, it's flickering.
That's not.
Yes, it's flickering.
Oh shoot!
Looks normal.
What?
I was playing that one.
You're what?
I dimmed that one slightly.
Oh.
Well, there's
What?
a
That's
problem.
a shitty monologue you just playing that line.
Ah, light.
I'm less like a Tonight Show and more like a comedy Bang Bang.
Better than Letterman.
Yeah, that's true.
He's just.
Can we?
But maybe I never understood. I never got his appeal.
All right.
All right, so
generation.
So the
Let's-
first question
Oh,
is
okay.
the extra 20 years going to be affect Christine mechanically?
no. Wait till next week. That's a big old sore spot. But no,
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
it's all stupid. Next question.
Are there any hot questions? I have like 5 minutes.
I guess we're gonna.
No,
lose.
your question is not. It's not a stupid question.
It,
But,
no, it doesn't. It doesn't. We realize it doesn't affect mechanically.
It doesn't
but it's-
say that it affects mechanically.
Writers.
It's just a weird, because aging in D&D, like Rasper his aging never affected anything.
Yeah, I think there are. I don't remember in 5th edition. I would
There's
need
certain thresholds.
but she's not. She's only like in her. Even with the aging, she's only in her mid 40s, so there aren't any mechanical drawbacks for that yet. We might have.
Yeah,
I
but
think
just-
we just forgot to look to apply some to Rasper in that case, but
honestly, because I don't care. For me, like the aging thing is like I for doing something like that, I'm not going to. I don't want to punish the players by like sapping their stats, which they can never get back because they fail to save on a fucking ghost. Like
I
that's
hate.
not.
You guys have heard me talk about it. I hate the ghost aging mechanic. I think it doesn't
It
feel.
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't feel good for the player who fails that role and has their character changed dramatically. And for the most part, I don't think it feels good for the DM, too, because it doesn't really do anything interesting
Yeah.
besides derail what you were trying to do. Unless your intent is to try and age your characters, then that's a very specific tool. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, so there will be, in the next couple of episodes and questions, comments, concerns, there's going to be a whole lot of discussion on the aging mechanic and how we...
Don't be distracted.
that thing is scary. How we plan to deal with it, and how we plan to not deal with it, and so there'll be there's more coming. And it's sort of been a big thing. It's been a big thing.
It's been a very disrupting force in our games.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm very cross about it.
So as you can see, we're all very excited about the mechanic.
Don't age.
Next question.
Does Ka have a belly button?
Yeah.
Yes.
No. Todd does not have a belly button because he was hatched out of an egg, as all bird people are.
I mean, if you want. Why are you moving to the back row, Casey?
So that Josh can be seen.
Oh, that's good.
So we
That's
can
pretty good.
Yeah.
I can move back.
That works pretty well. It just
Yeah,
it
so
just
as
makes
a
them
bird
look-
person, as a Thought-Thesian, he's probably born out of an egg.
Yeah.
And birds don't have belly buttons, so he probably does not.
Yeah.
That's not something that I think we've ever discussed. I mean, the question really that no one's asking is, does Vel have a belly button?
You made a throwaway line and
It's Jamie.
Jamie surely does not have a belly.
you made a throwaway
You're like
line
Kyle XY.
about elves being hatched in like season 1, and we just never addressed it.
Wait, did we really?
No, he made like a joke one time, or like because Vel was being super weird. He made some joke about like when you were hatched or something, and we never addressed it after that. But
What about bullywogs?
And bullywugs are probably
Tadpoles.
they're probably
Yeah.
hatched out of like those like weird rubbery eggs too, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
A lot of eggs going on.
Oh, actually, we do have some canonical evidence for how bullywugs
Oh,
are
yeah,
hatched.
we do.
And they are fired like rockets out of the back of
Oh.
their mother.
Oh, that's true.
Yes.
I forgot about the tadpole rockets. Oh.
Do bullywugs have belly buttons?
No,
No,
I
No,
don't
because
think
they're
also-
fired out of the
also
backs
eggs.
of their mothers. What?
That was an episode like -1, right?
That was episode 1.
That was episode 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So
Forgot about that.
list of threshold races who have belly buttons.
Humans.
Humans.
Do they though?
Why wouldn't they?
Well, see,
Are they?
Why would they?
I don't know that like biology works in the same way that
Huh.
it does
Also,
on
yeah.
like
Yeah, we've never met anybody who's pregnant. We've never met
seen
children.
A vagina.
We've never met children.
well, we haven't I mean, Rasper's the only character I think who would know at this point.
Really?
Yeah.
It's Barbie Ken.
He's the only one who's had sex
They
on
tag,
camera.
and then
Not on camera, but
and
like.
then
Camera.
You know what? Barbie can have belly
Yeah,
buttons.
maybe there are storks. Maybe that's how it works. Maybe like there's a
But yeah, that raises the question: like, are living things, because of the way that like cosmology works within the D&D system, are living things made up of cells? Like, I don't necessarily think so.
Oh, there's a rabbit hole that's
It's
way
kinda
too
weird.
deep. Like,
like
Yeah,
Those,
so-
those are the kind of questions that I do sort of ask. Is it's like, okay, is it more like how medieval people thought, where like the man just shoots a little tiny baby up inside the woman where it grows, right? Or is there like a whole cell system? That's what I used to think. Is that there were tiny little
I mean,
babies
it's not that
inside?
much. It's not that much more
got two
horrifying
babies,
than
one
what
banana.
happens.
Yeah.
Which
so,
one do you want?
Well, I thought it was, I thought it was pretty cool when we was just like, screw it, there's oxygen everywhere, and we sent what's his name just floating off into space. It's like that guy's gonna live forever just floating in space. 'cause there's
Yeah,
oxygen
right.
up there.
That's another. Is like,
Morris
is
Graber's
air
on the moon.
oxygen? Does the planet like have an atmosphere, or do things just sort of like live? And so yeah. So I don't know.
I think
Does
we-
God have a belly button? Probably not.
I think we threw away all
So
sort
you-
of like scientific grounding as soon
Yeah.
as we made the planet a Mobius strip.
Well,
Like,
that was
it's-
part of the reason we did it, was
Just
to just like completely detach ourselves from.
Yeah.
Science.
from science.
Yeah.
Originally, it
physics.
was just going to be an infinitely flat space.
Mhm.
When I was first like drawing it out, I was like, okay, it's just going to go on forever, and then we bitted Mobius strip into existence, and that was way cooler.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to totally divorce myself from like climate zones and things like that. Or
Which is a smart thing to do because that
science
way.
has to make sense. Yeah.
You have a lot more freedom
Yeah.
for placing things on the world.
like having a moon just sit in between the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two moons.
Not
Two
having-
moons.
Humans.
It's two
Didn't
moons.
that-
One rotates.
Yeah,
right?
one rotates,
It just sits
orbits around the
So
strip, and the one
didn't
is
the
in
two moons originate just from the picture that
Yep.
Josh did?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you made that moon in there, and then that
Your
just
second
became.
moon, or it just got cannoned.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yes.
Next question.
We're
The moon broadsides is what I
Yeah.
like the warfare
part of the
is like
canon,
the
right?
moon's past.
What?
Yeah, they shoot each other.
Guys!
Knows the
Guys!
illusions.
Okay, they want to know where this Jamie something character is, but I don't think that's a great question, so we'll move on to the next one.
Can't tell you.
We can't tell
He's dead.
you.
No, he's not. Where's
He's got.
Someone was asking about setting materials on Patreon. Are you gonna do any more?
Setting it. Oh yes, I'm working on one for the elves right now since they're in the homeland, and I'm thinking about that stuff. So there's gonna hopefully be more. I just have to find the time to actually like sit in front of my computer like this, and that's only gonna get harder in the next couple of months. But yes, there's gonna be some. I'm working on that PDF now. It's gonna have some things. I don't think new races, but it's gonna have. I'm working on new backgrounds for elven characters, for the settings. So yeah, the information for some of the elven weapons. We're gonna try to write some new spells and probably some new monsters, and maybe some new like either class options or stuff like that. Bye, Patrick.
Hey, Patrick.
We should do. If you want to do weapons, we should like get together and I can do some of the art for the weapons.
Oh, that'd be great.
We can create like
Cool.
a real like
Weapons chart.
like a cool looking weapons chart that's very like D&D book officially.
Well, I have. There's this
So-
wonderful tool online called the Home Brewery, which basically is just a big like CSS tool. So you just like type your stuff in and it formats it beautifully. But what I do need is like art
Yeah.
for like the side.
let's do it.
Because I'll show you that. I can show you that tool later. But
Okay.
It's in the works.
So yes,
Yeah.
more things are coming.
It's
with
just
Patreon.
it's very.
it's just
very
a
long.
slow. It's a slow process because I have a job that makes me very busy, especially now that I'm back in the sunken place.
Yeah.
Yes, we've lost Steven to the sunken place.
So, but yeah, so it's coming.
Okay. There was a quick question about the no question, comments, concerns.
Oh,
So, someone.
Yeah. So
It's
when
just-
we
it's next week.
Yeah, so when we filmed the last episode, we filmed that one and the next episode together, like just as one long
As a
session.
3-hour chunk to try to because
yeah,
otherwise.
and again, scheduling has become more and more
Really?
challenging for
Yeah.
us lately. So we're having to do stuff like that. That's not necessarily ideal for the way the show has come together in the past. But
So,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
essentially we filmed it all both sessions together, and then we just chopped them up and we talked questions, comments, concerns at the end of the second session. So questions, comments, concerns will be
extra long.
extra long
Next week.
Next week. Yeah. Long story short.
yeah, it'll hit
Bonus.
both.
Bonus.
It'll hit
A
both
bonus.
episodes.
XL.
Right? Yeah.
Special edition.
Goaty.
What?
In game terms, we always think of like an extra long one being a goatee being the
Game of the
base
year.
game plus DLC.
Yeah.
Oh right.
Game of the year.
Game of the
edition.
year.
But-
Just-
Oh!
The hip
What is a
lingo when you're in
goatee?
the industry
man.
is goatee, you know.
You heard her here first. Goaty.
Never sure.
But isn't it GOYD?
No, it's GOTY. Game of the
Game
year.
of the year.
The year.
Anyway.
Okay. Where would you like to explore that has not been explored in this series yet?
Ooh. I'll answer last.
Josh seems to. Well, we can go around the table for that one, I guess, because I think everybody probably has one.
Yeah, definitely.
Steven, go first.
No,
No,
I'm gonna
Steve's
go.
going last.
Okay,
Go
we'll start
last.
it. We'll start at my end, since Brian seems to want more time anyway.
What? I wanted to go in the middle.
Okay. I know where Thothesia has a lot of unanswered questions, but I think the one I want to poke at is the Broken Kingdoms. Just because the name is so cool, and I know we haven't defined a lot about it other than there's like lots of dead magic zones, or like the whole thing is a dead magic zone, which is terrifying as the guy who plays the wizard, but at the same time, I don't know, I like archipelago style island settings and stuff too, and I think that would be a cool one to explore.
I want to eventually see what's in the inner ring of Threshold, the
Yeah.
planet. Are there lost cities? Is it totally alien? Also, what is it like crossing the
Crossing
the
that little,
under
yeah.
like the volcanic
That's a
like,
question.
area between the
Yeah.
yeah.
That'd be very cool.
Yeah, that's cool stuff.
Yeah.
Steven's like, no.
No, I do like
I mean,
all that.
it's so far down the road.
I like that it's such a. My favorite part is that it's a mystery, and that's fun
Yeah.
to think about.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's-
even entirely sure where Aaron is on the strip. It's on the outer part of the strip, right?
Of course.
It faces
otherwise-
outward,
yeah,
yes.
It faces outward, but we are not entirely sure like which part of the outward.
It starts twisting south of that stuff, right? Isn't that where the twist is happening?
The twist is actually, I think it's a fair. So in Josh's famous picture, I think of Aaron being the part that's most towards the camera.
So do I, just because that
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
Which I think.
Where's
the-
Oh, where's that picture?
Oh, where's that picture?
Water
Oh, it's
damage.
over there.
Yeah,
Water, right.
we
Where's
really
the
need to get those replaced. Again, see. Sorry, all the things are falling through
Yeah,
the cracks,
so-
guys. We've been really struggling to get the show out. lately.
Yeah, that one. So Josh, when we first started, made this picture that you've been watching, seen. Other way,
Oh,
that way.
What did I even make? So I
What if
think
we
of
just
I-
been hanging
I
out?
think
I don't think.
Oh, you can't really see
I mean,
it.
they
You
can't see
yeah,
it because of the glare, but
I think of
Oh,
Aaron
yeah, it's
being
really
this section here.
That's Okay.
Here, we can,
Okay.
you can move it closer to the
Yeah,
camera.
yeah,
You can go around the front of the table.
Block the There we go.
No.
Ooh, wait.
Bye, Kevin.
There we go. Here. Just scoot
just-
over, Kevin.
It was better back there.
Just like this.
Was
There,
it?
there we go.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the down a little bit.
Down.
Yeah, yeah.
There.
So I think of Aaron being like this section here.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Oh, like, and then so.
Well, not just Aaron, but like the whole.
Like the
Right.
the
so
known
the
world.
twist is
Region
to the
region.
west.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's
Yeah,
like
so
the-
what the hell's going on over there?
Oh, this right here?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, this is like the volcanic underworld that happens right after the twist, and then beyond that is like we don't know.
We don't know.
I see it like a Ragnarok kind of thing,
Yeah.
where it's constantly twisting but very slowly, and so like stuff gets destroyed and then it gets rebuilt
Oh, that's cool.
over time.
I
So
like
like
that.
it's constantly evolving and adapting.
Also, the star
Lights
is a
is-
D20.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that, but
Sun
The
is
sun has been the biggest problem for me.
the sun?
Yes, the sun. Because what is it?
Yeah.
what is it?
It's a
What
D20.
is what? No, but what is it? But is it like is the
is it
world
a-
of Threshold itself so meta that the sun is a D20?
No, I
Do
think-
we rotate around the sun? Is the sun little and it rotates around
Yeah.
us? Is it super hot? Is it just like an opening to the elemental plane of fire? Is it like an opening to the elemental plane of good? Like
Is it a god that just is sitting out in space? We
Yeah.
yeah, how does it relate to the moons? If the
Is
moons
it-
are gods, is it a god? How does it
Yeah.
feel about the moon gods?
Maybe we're in a sphere, and that's just a hole in the sphere that leads to
I-
another.
The giant size.
I thought you were.
Yeah,
Oh, I mean,
the
the
bubbles.
The bubble, the planar bubbles.
Does anybody else have somewhere they'd like to visit?
Can we,
Oh, yeah.
stop for a second?
Yeah.
The question was, what's the inspiration for the Mobius strip?
Oh,
Episode 4.
like so many of the things on this show, it was mostly just us sitting around the table going, "Oh, that would be cool,"
Yeah.
and then that Steven does this thing, yeah, and
then
and
Yeah, we
then
were just
real.
sort of joking about it. Like, what if the world was a Mobius strip instead of what if it was anything else?
yeah, up till episode 4, it was your sort of infinite expanse,
It
and
was just
then
undefined.
yeah, we hadn't really settled on it.
And something else too is like you can actually kind of see that like the Mobius strip idea take form because that's the cold open.
Right.
Yeah,
Like you can see the entire process
cold
is
open
there on
for-
tape.
Fourth episode.
Yeah.
Or I think it might have been in questions.
No, it was not
No.
in questions, comments,
I mean,
concerns.
there is a cold open where you're already holding the
Yeah, the
strip we
Mobius
made
strip.
because we were like we wanted a physical thing you could pick up to look
Yeah.
at what a Mobius strip would look like, and then so you're just like threshold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
But yeah, we were joking about what kind of shapes it could be. Like, is it a triangle? Is it a circle?
Well,
Is
I
it-
think that's also where the D20 thing came in because we were like, oh, is the planet like is it
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Well,
shaped like
yeah.
a
D4?
I believe originally all planets were different dice shapes.
Yeah.
That's right. We had a solar system where like each planet was
That
like
was
a.
dumb.
That was kind of a
Yeah.
dumb thing.
Cool, but also dumb.
I was never considering that.
I think it was just one of those stupid things we were
I don't-
joking about one
I
time.
don't-
Maybe the sun is a suspended angel of meta. That's the D20 shape.
Oh.
Oh.
What is an angel of?
Angel.
But an angel of. But that opens more problems. Why is an angel of meta hot? Why is it providing light to an entire planet?
You couldn't say why does it produce heat. You had to say why is it hot.
Yeah, why is it hot? Well,
Wait, there's no heat. There's no.
Then how do
there's
people
no
stay
heat,
warm?
there's no space.
There's no like these are not
Yeah.
concepts
They're,
that
they're
exist.
questions that we just can't think about.
When you're on the planet of Threshold. Wait, do you remember the name of what's the
This is what they call the strip.
the strip? When you're on the strip, you just when there is light, it is warm and comfortable. If that's where you are,
Yeah,
I know, yeah.
There's no-
We have to think about it how like
there's no connection.
people would
between,
think about it in the Middle
Yeah.
Ages. you know?
Yeah, but then there's also like this game mechanic. So you have to think about like what do people believe on the ground? What do the wizards believe? What is the truth? How does that affect game mechanics? And it's so things like so I just try to like not think about those questions because then there's questions about like how do we have phases of the moon if we have two moons and a planet that is a strip?
Or
Like-
tides. How do we have tides?
Yeah. Magic.
Magic.
You take
I
it
think
as
it's
magic.
magic. I think it's magic.
Yeah,
It's magic.
there's magic and there's elemental forces, and I just try not to think about it too much until we need to.
Yeah. So I know this. Yeah, this is going to totally break your investment in our world, but we don't have physics and a set cosmology. Really,
It's just magic.
Well, we have a cosmology, but we don't
I think
have.
that if there's any physics question, because I sort of introduced it with the astral goggles in this episode, in an episode back or so. But basically it's like the astral plane is our collective imagination, and then things just get filtered through the game rules to become the material plane, which is the actual thing. So, like, if you look at the sun through the astral goggles, you'll just see, like, some kind of, like, light switch or something, like, or just heat, or, like, whatever the purest idea of the sun is. And that gets filtered through the game rules, and then that, is what we experience. So that is, like, the physics that drives,
That makes
I think,
sense.
the whole thing.
I'm always a fan of settings where, like, collective perception sort of helps define the physical world in some ways, or like that sort of unconscious consensus on what a thing is.
But it works from our player level through to the
right.
That's what's happening.
Because there's that meta aspect built into the threshold.
That's how I think about it.
It's good. I like that.
So I want to go to Thothesia to rescue Clarion.
But you are Clarion.
I know, it's true. I don't know. I'm excited to. I'm gonna bring this up and start a whole thing. I'm excited for the pirate campaign. I just want to be on the water and not have anything serious or world breaking and establish anything. I just want random crap to happen, and it's all on the water, so it doesn't matter. It just floats away.
Flotsam and jetsam away into the tides.
I feel like there was I think that's about it. Oh, I want to go not to the other side. I want to go deeper into this into the planet of itself and see what the core looks like.
The gooey center.
Because there's rumors that there's a Terresk just running around on the inside of it, or and then there was that gas that the dwarves found.
The threshold is like a giant strip of trident.
There
are layers.
There's the cooling strip in the center.
Oh, what if the core is cold?
Casey brings up a good point, is that there, like the Fae and the elves and everything all came from the other side because they were trying to escape something.
Right. Yeah, that's been alluded to.
So that's a question for another day.
Speaking of Fae, I really want to go north on Aeron and go into giant country.
See where the Fae went.
See where the Fae went. I kind of do just the giants and what's to that.
I am curious about that too. Let's just hope the Fae haven't just
eaten
eaten
everything.
everything.
Now that the Fae and the giants have been attacking each other for months.
Yeah.
No more giants.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that. Yeah.
No more Fae.
You're that, or they started
giant Fae babies.
There you go.
Oh, God.
Yes.
That are hatched out of eggs.
Yes.
And have belly buttons.
Fans. Fans.
They fancy.
Hey everyone, I got me a fan.
Fans.
He's got a green creature on a balloon string.
Like in Shrek.
That one took my answer. I want to go there too. Then she said it first. So
sorry.
I don't have an answer right now.
Why do you want to go there?
Why do I want to go there?
Yeah, why do you?
I feel semi-invested in the whole Fae storyline, considering that I was part of it.
Why would you care about that?
That's just how I feel invested too with the Nostromo.
Jamie's the reason there were Fae in the world.
Exactly. and so I want to see how that played out, particularly versus giants.
They're a playable race.
Giants?
No, the Fae.
Oh.
The Fae are playable.
That's right.
In my races guide.
Yeah.
They're on the page.
Your racist guide?
My
races.
Races. In my races guide.
So Stephen wrote a racist manifesto.
Oh my
God.
I was trying to come up with a title for it, just here in my head, but everything I was coming up was nope, don't say that on the stream. Nope, don't say that on the stream. Nope, don't say that on the stream. So
yeah.
Dodge that bullet.
Kinda. It might have grazed us there a little bit.
Stephen, where do you want to go?
Where I really want to go to. There's a lot of stuff that's going on Syraxis that we have sort of just ignored completely. Like in terms of like where are the big power centers of the world? Like obviously the homeland is on the up and up, but Aeron is kind of actually considered like a little backwater. Like they got their feudal system and whatever. They can have fun. While Syraxis is where like a lot of the big stuff is happening. We were in Nod very briefly, and we saw that like it's very different. There's a lot of things that are going on with Nod that I really am really excited for. That's where like the Orcish people are from, and that. There's goblins over there, and there's the Null Way, and there's everything with Adam all happens on Syraxis. And so there's like, I mean, a couple hundred years ago, there was a great kingdom called Abraxia that was ruled by a gold dragon that like happened on there. And that's like so much, there's so much history.
That's true, especially when you were really going on wiki articles.
Yeah.
A lot of your history
There's
articles
only
are
about 400 years worth of Aeron history in terms of humanity, but there is a lot more stuff that is going on over in Syraxis.
Well,
humanity.
They're like divided by 4. What was the thing? Like there's one for each element.
There's different sort of community.
Only
there's Sphinxian.
Okay.
So Syraxis is a continent. Gigaplax was a collection of sort of these different big cities that sort of form together to form an alliance, and they're in a new alliance now. I think that they're calling it Sphinx Gigaplacia now.
That sounds great.
And they would pronounce it Gigaplace and Syraxis.
Syraxis. I've been saying it wrong this whole time.
The X is a
Shush noise. Just stay off of that.
Boo.
No, Steven, no.
Yeah. There was a question about the recap videos.
The
recap. What?
The recap.
I can't hear you.
Remember that time that I said that we were having a hard time
You're
getting
gonna
the show out?
You have to speak up.
Remember all those puppets in our living room?
No, still not. I'm still not. It's not hearing you. I'm just not.
I want to finish that.
We
I really
do.
I spent so much time and money on those puppets, and they're really cute.
Let me put it this way: we can either continue to put out episodes, or we can have a puppet recap at this point. With the amount of scheduling that we have, there was a time when we first set out to do the puppet recap that looked like it was going to be possible, and then a lot of things have changed between now and then, and it was kind of another thing too, where every time we sort of think of, we've done like some tests to start doing the puppets, but it's gonna be a much bigger machine than we thought to actually shoot it, because just of the way that whole workflow is, and because it's not something that I have a lot of experience with. So we want to do it. We have all the puppets. I think you've seen photos of the puppets somewhere.
Yeah, some of them.
So we have all the puppets, and we want to do that video. But what form it's going to look at, what form it's going to end up being is we don't know yet.
Yeah, we'll hopefully find some time to put it out in one form or another, or start using the puppets in cold opens or something.
Yeah.
We should run the puppets for at least a couple of cold opens.
We should.
Yeah, they're so cute.
I'll just play the entire game as a Vel puppet one time.
Gosh.
We just play in a
What if
whole.
we
That'd be nice.
We could do that for like an
Right?
April
Yeah.
Fool's.
It would be kind of nice to have like your guys' puppets there, just so you can
No.
like look at them and remember.
Val is the only one who isn't a puppet, and he just sees us all, and we're all like,
Oh, right.
Oh.
we're all
Right,
Looney
it's one of
Tuny.
those. This
This is how Val sees the world. We're all
what was
Looney
it?
Tuny.
Wasn't there like an episode of 30 Rock where Kenneth saw everybody as like Muppet characters? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like that, but for Vel.
So we want to do it, but
It'll happen.
it's just a time thing.
Why no love for clerics?
Because I'm not allowed to play anybody but this wizard.
I don't know why there's no love. Why there's no love for clerics?
Well, it's because our relationship with gods is very different and kind of.
I said I was a cleric once and someone kicked me into a pit, so I don't play clerics anymore.
What pit did you get kicked into?
That's a really obscure Dark Souls reference.
Oh.
There's a character in Dark Souls.
I just made the cleric and kicked him into a pit.
His name is Patches, and you go, you're not a cleric, are you? And if you, well, actually, he kicks you into the pit either way, but he hates clerics. So he kicks you into a pit full of other undead monstrosities.
I love clerics. You can see that by the way that I'm there's a lot of god stuff going on. So I like playing clerics. I've played a lot of clerics.
And Tiff was a cleric. If you watch the Homeland stuff,
right.
Tiff was a cleric.
We did, yeah.
It's hard because we have, you're right, we do have kind of a funky relationship with gods. And so it's well...
How so? You guys say that, but I don't know how...
I don't know. I feel like things aren't really well defined. And so it's we eat wizards. It's okay, you have to use components. And so, for... being a cleric, it's not I'm just gonna, use my god's power to cast bless. It's I must ask my god to cast bless, and it may or may not work.
Part of the issue we have with that is that nobody has really played a cleric that much. A DM can't just say your spell doesn't work any more than they can say that to a wizard for a cleric, because it is in your mechanics that you can cast these spells.
They can do it.
They can do it, but they can do it to wizards too.
Yeah.
It's not a threat that's unique to clerics. Although there are some more role-playing dynamics that might come into play there.
I think that's where we're getting caught up, is the role. I know for me, it feels hard to play.
I totally. Were I to make another character at this point, I would probably play a cleric or a paladin.
I totally disagree that it's not defined, because I feel like it hasn't been defined because we haven't had many characters that are clerics.
Yeah.
I haven't had as much screen time to talk about that. We've had...
Wasn't one of the dwarves a cleric?
Yeah.
Bard.
But yeah, we've never had a main party character that's with us for a while. That that's why you had to staple Mary to the party just to get some Nara stuff going in there.
Yeah, and she's been our biggest window into.
And I know, you would have preferred to have a player character.
I did offer that. I did offer that up for, but I guess no love for clerics.
I think just nobody's chosen to play a cleric yet, and there's no reason to world build ahead of someone doing it. So,
well, there is some reason to, but it is sort of tough because the characters that sort of fall into our player demographics definitely those facets of the world get more fleshed out because the players are interested in them, and Stephen kind of has to build things out around their interest spheres. I said if I wasn't stapled to Vel right now, I would play one, but I still want to play an Adam character because I had one of those that didn't happen.
Well, that's right. We were gonna have a cleric.
Yeah.
Paladin. Yeah.
Oh, it was.
Although
it was right. It was a paladin.
He could have easily been a battle cleric too. But.
Yeah.
So that's the reason we just haven't. I don't know if there's any does anyone have a grudge against clerics?
Nope.
Or?
No.
I think it's just the way that
Patches.
it's worked out.
On a somewhat related note, there's a question about: are we planning any spin-offs or different teams in the near future?
Oh, yeah.
Pirates.
You want to
the infamous
talk about
pirate campaign.
Yeah. No, pitch the pirate campaign.
So I just have a small 6-episode arc of just hanging out and doing random just typical on the water tropes. Maybe you get attacked by pirates. There's a great storm. Kind of,
We fight a giant squid.
Fight a giant
Right.
squid. Get shipwrecked on an island.
Mermaids.
Mermaids.
You told me
all
it was
that.
more. It was
So
less
it's
pirates.
It's less pirates. It's
more Threshold on the
I imagine it
Seas.
being called Threshold on the Open Seas, not Threshold Pirate Campaign, because I don't think there's actually going to be very many pirates.
It's
Threshold Casey's pirate campaign.
What was name attached?
It's just become branded as the pirate campaign.
What we'll probably do is we're gonna finish out this little Homeland arc to sort of its end, and then I think we'll probably I'll let Casey take the helm. See what I did, and do the pirates, and then we'll sort of see where to go from there.
Mm-hmm.
See how we're feeling.
I'm stoked because hopefully I'll be able to play a character I haven't played in a while. So that's
Yeah.
Oh, Powaku.
Also, plant people? That is also a character idea that was approached to me
Plant people.
Yes, was
People.
I think Patrick wanted to be one of the living plant people that we established in the Homeland stuff of like.
Oh, I didn't have them being self-aware, but I don't know.
Like the
Maybe the ship is
Threshold's a
one
big world.
carved out plant person, like someone just.
next question. Next question.
How long have you known each other?
Oh my.
Let's go down.
Okay.
Let's see.
Start with the
On,
old.
on,
Chronologically.
on average, about 3 years, but we're gonna go.
Each other since middle school.
Yep.
We've been good friends since 7th,
Seventh
8th
grade,
grade.
yeah.
So that's been pretty
Everyone else 3
long
years.
running. Yeah, almost everybody else.
Wait a second.
There's more. Like Josh.
All right.
Josh and Steven both went to the same high school as us, but
But they didn't actually
different
meet.
grades, but then
Yeah.
I knew Brian in middle school. In 7th grade, we did wrestling together.
We did.
We were on the wrestling team.
Yeah, like Roman Greco.
Yeah.
Did not allow it.
I don't have 7th grade like.
Why don't
will be taken down.
Why don't theater
Greco-Roman.
departments and athletics departments team up to do WWE and for high
Because
school?
because parents will not allow it.
That would be amazing. They allowed them to just wrestle on the floor, but they don't allow them to
That's a
do
sport.
stage fight.
Yeah.
It's a
Why
sport.
can't it be a sport?
No,
sport.
I trust me. I'm for that idea.
Imagine like the big, your big star from your one high school is like going against the heel of the other one, right? There's like dirty tricks and they've stolen the mat. That sounds awesome.
that does sound great.
There's a theatrical component that gets rated along with the actual wrestling.
Yeah.
A little bit sport, a little bit theater,
Yeah.
and then somebody wins at the end.
Either way.
Chronologically.
In any
then-
case,
Yeah.
Then
high school.
Then I lived across the street from Kevin growing up in Nevada.
Yeah, and we like kind of knew each other, but didn't. hang
But
out.
they were years ahead of me. I was a
Yeah.
freshman in high school when they were seniors.
Seniors,
So
yeah.
we were like just in different worlds.
Yeah.
And then I lived 4 doors down, but never knew them.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
never met either of us.
Never met. Yeah, either.
So
of
them,
us.
So
That's
weird.
then
All right.
We
I
probably
met
took the bus
Pamela
together.
and Casey in college, and Casey and I lived together for a year. And I just found a bunch of videos
I know.
from that
I
year.
saw that. Yep.
Which was fun. And so then when we all moved down to LA sort of separately.
Yeah. And then one day, Steven is leaving to come back down here.
Yeah, I'm leaving to.
Oh no.
I'm not gonna tell that whole story. But essentially, then Kevin and I sort of met up in Reno, like just
Home for the holidays.
had a
pretty much.
conversation. It was like we play a bunch of games. We play a bunch of games in the basement. You should come and check out the basement. And I was like, okay, here we go. And then I walk in the basement. It's like this amazing, like the set with the red, and we used to have the long bookshelf on the side. And it was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then from there we
And then
sort of
Yeah, we wanted to
I
do a.
came on Game of Thrones season 3.
probably
Four.
4? Season
The
4
board game.
for the board
Game
game
of Thrones
day.
board game day, and that was
Yeah.
how I
That's
got
how you-
introduced
And he never left.
to everybody else.
And now he lives here.
It's true.
Not a
And
joke.
also, and Patrick went to college with these two.
Yeah, and then we met.
That's how-
Oh, and Eric, I know from CLU as well. From
college.
college.
Yeah. So we've all known each other for at least 3 years, if not, and then there's longer.
It's a bunch
Threads.
of different like
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
things, and then just kind of being it's sort of like an ex-Reno.
Yeah, it centers around Reno, Nevada.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's where a lot of us are from.
one way or another.
So this guy that we don't know is asking, how does it feel to be overshadowed by the incredible role-playing ability of that guy who plays the bird thing? Some Patrick Allen character.
Yeah.
You know,
we would,
Patrick is an inspiration to all of us in terms of role playing. I mean, role playing a character that doesn't technically speak except for things that other people say is not only a inspiration to me personally, but I think to everyone at this table. It's
I moved to tears after it.
truly just an honor.
It's a masterpiece.
I have a no, I'm not saying.
No, bit over.
Bird dude's right.
Bird is right.
We love you, Patrick.
We did miss you.
This is specifically for you, Steven. I guess for you too, Kevin. Are there any cool setups that the players missed?
Oh God!
Like set up something.
My Homeland mini arc right before like my little 2-episode thing. The big setup was Tarek and Vel, but there's so much crap I put in those episodes that might not ever reach fruition.
Steven?
Steven's probably got more. Yeah. Steven's getting his notebook out.
I mean, like just things like the dungeon. There are like whole
dungeon.
rooms and stuff in dungeons that we never get into. I had an entire campaign, like a 6-episode campaign plan, that ended up scrapping, which I'll probably take bits and pieces from later, because I just did, for the Ranch Timeline campaign, I originally had a totally different like arc for that, and then I like hated it, and then I started over. Yeah. And so there's lots of setups like the Executor that Execuror, that is going to, I'm sure, come back. So there's like a lot of things that like things like there's the Plord family, right, that we don't talk about nearly enough.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of like little things that like I'm super excited about, but that for whatever reason, either because I don't sell them or just because they're not, what you guys are thinking about at that moment, that they just sort of get ethered to either be brought back at some point. And,
yeah, that's the nice thing is you can always just recycle them down the line,
or it'll, when they do come back, then careful watchers will be like,
Easter eggs.
I'll flip the question around to you guys. Is there anything that you have heard us mention, like any setups that you've heard us mention, that you're like, why didn't you follow that plot hook?
That was actually another question someone asked if we'd be interested in any story suggestions from.
Yes.
I definitely have I have the next bit plan. I think I can save it. I got to inside out the next episode, and then
we'll talk a little bit about that once we're through here.
Yeah, I got to inside out an episode, but I have plans for the next little bit. But I would love to, rather than story suggestions, I would like to hear from you guys where you would like to see us go, or what things you would like to see us address.
Topics you guys are interested in, areas, characters, even that would really be interesting for helping us sort of decide where the interest is.
If there's mass appeal for seeing a cleric of a dome, I don't see that we would be like against someone playing a cleric of, or
I'll do it. Right.
Or if you want to see an orc, why don't we have a half orc in the party? Then
there is a question here.
I can do that too.
All right, we'll get to the tiefling question.
Okay.
We'll get there. I'm ready for it. We already had to open this can
of whoop ass.
Okay.
Right.
Are there any? We'll do that later. Are there any plans to multi-class? There was a lot of people asking if Vel was planning to become a mystic.
Mystic?
Mystic is sort of it's basically divine wizard. It would be like, I get the question because Vel has a lot of ties to Lunan, even if he's not necessarily a great devout worshiper or anything. I don't have any plans to multi-class Vel at the moment. We do have a lot of other multi-classing going on at the table.
Yeah.
No, you're straight warlock now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, of course Pamela's got her paladin stuff, which is very central to what we're doing right now. Ka has also been quieter about it, but he's been taking levels in fighter. I like the pure wizard playstyle, and I don't really Vel as a character. I just don't know what else.
You can't sacrifice those pew-pews, like the spell progression. You can't. Could you imagine being like 9th level and not getting your 4th level spells?
I am too excited for my next tier of spells to waste a level on something, especially because I level so infrequently now.
Rasper's got a level of barbarian.
Rasper did have a level of barbarian.
Both Clarion and Andrios, I've played with the idea of multi-classing cleric, just to get a domain or something like that for 2 levels.
That'd be interesting.
Oh, Mystic is psionics.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, I forgot. Yeah, that's the Unearthed Arcana crazy like modular class that can be anything. I forgot about that. I don't think there's any plans for psionics in Threshold right now.
No.
Also, judging
Get
by
out.
the frantic wagging of Steven's head.
Get out. I'll say my piece with psionics. Psionics, I feel like you already have arcane and divine spellcasting to contend with, let alone whatever the fuck the bard does. And so between the two of those, to then also add psionics on top of the mix, I feel like muddles magic. Psionics is brain powers. I would just much rather put it under the umbrella of arcane. Also, I feel like the Mystic is still being play tested.
Very much so.
And from what I have read on it, it makes me way too nervous to put that in there.
It's a lot. It's like a massive frickin'... I did read through the whole thing, actually, now that the memories are coming back to me. I do think it would be really cool, maybe detached from Threshold even, but to run an all-Mystic campaign because of the class is so modular, you can literally make like a 5... It can be turned into like 5 different classes, basically. So you could have tank mystics and pew mystics and sneaky
Can
fast
you
mystics.
swap the modules out?
No, it's all part of the class selections that you choose like a discipline. It's basically like it's like take those class path choices and just crank them up to the point where they basically turn it into a different class that just uses the same resource.
I would like to see it where you can swap them out. So like you're just 6 dudes.
Well, and there are still
you can like I'll be the tank this time. Give me the tank powers.
There is some of that because you can it's very modular in how you take different disciplines and stuff. But
They're like
maybe
6
we can dig through it
gems
at
that
some
you can
point.
like put into a special necklace, and that gives you the powers of that gem.
That'd be cool.
At that point, you put it in a belt buckle and go like that, and you turn into a certain kind of character.
But I just don't see
I
why
feel
it
that's
needs
where
to
you
be
were going.
psionics based. That sounds cool, but can we do it arcane or divine? Why the obsession with psionics?
I mean, I get why psionics are popular to some people.
they're cool, but can we put them in their own world?
I do, and I mean, like, even in 4th edition, I'd have to go back and read the Mystics Unearthed Arcana, but, like, they did sort of get turned back to like, they're sort of a subset of the arcane magics now. They're just, like, a different discipline of it.
I just know mostly 3.5 psionics, the psionic handbook, and that just wrecked my 3.5
Yeah,
world.
I think they're moving away from that a bit more, at least. They're kind of monkey in the Unearthed Arcana, like they're very like they live in monasteries and train their minds and
Monk-like.
Monkey.
Okay, let's not even talk about if is key magic. Is it divine magic? Is it a physical property?
That's another class we ever like barely even touched on. Was
Had a
monks.
few, yeah.
It's because you guys don't like to be disciplined. No,
I've only been allowed to play one character.
No, I think you're actually onto something. Is like
Yeah.
it's hard to be a disciplined character. It's easier to roleplay whatever
Absolutely.
you want.
Yeah.
You guys like because the fact that we have 3 wizards in our party right now, I think says the fact
Hey, I'm
the
a sorcerer.
the types of people that we are and the
I was
type
here
of characters
first.
we like to play are the characters that are sort of they're brainier. They have access to magic, and it's magic that they have acquired themselves. I think that there's something like psychological about our profile that we like to, because I like to play wizards more than, well, actually, I love playing clerics too, but I think that that's sort of the split, whereas like the cleric tends to be more disciplined. They have to, they have to pray all the time. It's not them learning stuff in a book. So I think it just kind of speaks a little bit to
Well, it also makes it hard, like for me playing Christine, where it's like she's stepping into Paladin, which is more like structured and less like fightery, and it's really difficult to not play like lawful stupid.
Yeah, and that's
in
the
this group.
that's
Because
the big,
it's like, well, do I? It's like, well, do I stay like true more to the character, but then like but then it's like, well, then everybody is mad, and we're not going to get anywhere with this, so I have to be a little more lenient. But like, how do you play that?
It's hard to be lenient with morality when your morality is tied to another being.
Yeah.
I have taken Threshold as an opportunity to play characters I don't normally play. For I went a significant portion of my life hating bards.
Yeah, that was a big change.
So starting off, I was like, Sure, why not? I'll play a bard. So that was me.
I feel it was really good for you though because you weren't motivated to like min max as much.
Yeah.
It wasn't about like numbers. You were like more. It was more about the character and the role play.
I think that was important for you just to dissociate yourself from the numbers because you're a very number oriented person.
Yep. And if I would have played a fighter, I would have just been like, guys, we gotta do it tactically. We gotta do it.
Whereas Claring, like, I guess I'll sing.
Clang.
I do miss that.
I'm bringing Clarion back.
Just so we can hear the little
app on your phone.
I'm bringing him back.
Also, I think Angela has either a ukulele or a mini guitar.
Oh. Just gotta teach you to play a couple of songs.
We should get a jailhouse band going.
Well, yeah.
No, I'm bringing Clarion back. I'm bringing him back.
You
heard it here.
Didn't
You heard it here, and in the
Zach
several
have a-
conversations I've had previously. I'm
Do you
bringing
have
him
a
back.
jug you blew into?
Oh, yeah.
I think we did this.
Yes, good one does have a-
washboard.
To answer your initial question, no, I don't plan on multi-classing.
I tried a multi-class once, and then Steven said I couldn't anymore.
What? Oh, I don't think he.
What are you talking about?
When I was at Rogue, and you're like, you should not be a Rogue anymore.
No,
You were miserable as a rogue.
I said, no, you took 2 levels in Rogue, and I said you can either convert those 2 levels into Warlock, or you can keep them as Rogue.
And you chose
And
to
you
choose
chose
Warlock.
them in Warlock.
Yeah. You
That was
chose
a good
this.
choice.
That was good.
Yeah.
I just like to throw the shade on just Steven sometimes.
Alright.
What's next?
There's a question if Josh, Pamela, or Brian would ever consider DMing an episode.
Yes.
No.
I really want to. That was it. That was my answer.
Meanwhile.
I've thought about. I have a whole idea for a campaign that I've talked to Steven at length
Oh,
about.
yeah.
That's kind of fun. That's all I'm gonna say about it, though.
Oh.
Ooh.
Mysterious.
I actually don't have any plans to DM, partially because a lot of my planning time goes into my job. And so for me, it's kind of like, well, I do this in my job, so I don't want to have to like do it for fun too. I also don't really have any campaign ideas, so that's also.
I move furniture for a living, so I like to use my brain. On the
The whole time you're working, you're like, oh shit, I can do this and this. And you're like,
Hey, those menial jobs are great for thinking up stuff like that.
well, and also like, spoiler alert. I deal with a whole lot of different kinds of furniture, right? So like in my campaign, that creates a lot of different
That's
cool types of
actually.
environments.
It's gonna be a
You gotta give them the pit. You gotta give them the
furniture
Alright, so-
campaign.
Say that and then
It's
not.
so good.
So the pitch is it's a in a tavern, and then at some point a mad wizard, sorcerer, magic user shrinks the party, and we have a Honey I Shrunk the Kids scenario.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids campaign.
And
Gotcha.
so it's
What
you
is it
know
called?
it's called Tiny Tavern.
Tiny
Right,
Tavern.
that's the sound.
And so the
They're
whole
going through
the
the
whole
mouse
campaign
holes.
the whole campaign is like the magic users at the bar, and he's a chaos wizard or a chaos mage, so he just flings all sorts of chaos magic around, and so happens that the party is by the door, and they get shrunk. So now the entire campaign is them getting from the door to the bar to take out this wizard and go back to normal
You
size.
could have rat folk.
Oh, yeah,
but
no.
like they're appropriately sized, not like big tall rat folk, like rat folk that are this big,
They're the size of
and
rats.
they have like tiny little needles.
This is gonna go secret and nim on us really fast.
Yeah.
Well, I already have a plan to have like the house cat be like a dragon, like level, like
It's the boss.
Yeah.
so. Yeah,
Kill the wizard's familiar.
I mean,
Yeah, right. You gotta get that. Yes, there it
Kill
is.
the wizards from there. I like it.
yeah. So,
Freezing Madness just showed up, and he
Hey,
said
freezing madness.
hey, for real.
he wanted to make elves rare, and you had suggested at the last Q&A to ban them, and he said it worked out quite well.
Oh, good.
Oh.
So I guess you ban them from no
character
elves for the
creation,
players.
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's the best way to do it, because as soon as you have an elf in the party, it normalizes it.
Hello.
Although we only had one, now we have a bunch. Now
Yeah.
we have
Well,
Now
I mean,
we're in
Yeah.
now we're in Elfland.
and now humans are.
you're in a place where the elves would be.
So I'm glad that the suggestion worked, and I'm sure that your players were much happier for it. Like feeling like the elves were different. So that's awesome. Good job.
Nice. Why does Jamie have an obsession with comfortable chairs?
Oh, because Brian has an obsession with couple chairs.
This goes back to the furniture thing.
Literally, it was in the first few episodes of the show. We'd go into these taverns or whatever, and I was having trouble finding something for Jamie to do right when he got there, and so I just used that thing as the baseline action for him to do while I thought of other things to do. So it's kind of like, when you say or it's your brain stalling to make something out.
Mm-hmm.
That looking for comfortable chairs was also
That's
actually
your.
really, that's amazing. That's actually really smart.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that way it gave me a turn or two to just go do that while I saw other things happening in the tavern to then I could go interact with.
Mm-hmm.
Also gives us moments of like that one guy who was sitting in the comfortable chair.
King Bunny.
King Bunny.
King Bunny. And so I had to go and like confront him. Kind of same way with the whole number 5 thing, like room number 5, is that would give me an automatic conversation to have with the tavern head or the bartender.
And I feel like it also sort of added to the mystery of your warlockness. Like they have like weird shit too.
Yeah.
And I feel like that.
Why is that? Why is the significance of that number? What's the
Exactly. So it's just kind of a multi-layer while I try and figure out things to do in my head.
They're good. It's really. I wish I did more stuff like that because they're really good like character things.
I had an improv teacher one time who suggested like whenever you don't know what to do, like figure out something that whenever you don't know what to do in a scene, you can just start doing, like especially space work. So like they would say if you're ever in a scene and you're stuck, just kind of start like smoking, but like really take attention to like doing all the little things about the smoking, so that you'll find something to do while you're doing that.
Right.
You'll find something real in the moment, and so that's really good advice. So like that's a good thing to keep in mind for role playing, is like figure out like what are your character's quirks that they do. Like if you were a cleric, make sure that you want to find a nice place to pray, or if you're a wizard, maybe you got to soundproof your room or something, or like try to find the quietest corner of wherever you are so you can focus. Kind of those little things that can add fun complications.
Even going beyond class reasons, like say if your character is a neat freak or something like that. Like Christine started off being a neat freak.
Yeah, she was a germaphobe.
She's a germaphobe, so she spent a lot of time washing her hands and making sure that her gloves were clean. Like that's great stuff. Just to kind of, it gives you that baseline action to do to progress your character without any sort of major implications, and so you can just kind of think about other things while still doing an action.
Or you can pick a random object and try and make a magical doodad out of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's fantastic.
That's how you end up wearing a chamber pot on your head for the entire episode.
That has telekinesis.
Yes.
All good detail work.
Kevin, was Harry Dresden a big inspiration for how
Oh,
he portrays
gosh.
Vel?
Maybe not for Vel specifically, but I adore the Dresden Files and been reading them for years and years and years, so it wouldn't surprise me if bits of Dresden-like things have just snuck into how I do wizards in most situations. I don't like deliberately take stuff, although not even the long coat wasn't even my idea. Steven just decided that was traditional elf garb at the beginning of like when I was rolling up Vel, so I was just like, all right, I guess he wears a long
It's
coat.
kind of Indian influenced.
And then I was like, rad, long coats look cool.
Ragdoll's look cool. Mm-hmm. Jamie has a long coat.
No hats.
I was
No hats.
I was very
No
heavily
hats.
influenced by The Matrix.
Well, all right. I should do more
Does Christine still wear gloves?
time
She wears the giant gauntlets. So she has those giant gauntlets. I think that for her, that germophobia could come back if they go back up north, because it's a lot of it's tied very psychologically with certain events from her childhood, and I think the closer she gets to that, the more they start to come back.
That's very.
Were you guys surprised for the characters to live so long? Because we've only had one character death, and that was a Jamie one.
I've done that rather intentionally. there's moments where I probably would have killed people, but I've pulled punches, because I've killed many.
You can't.
Well, you can't see it,
you
but
can't
He's
see it.
pointing to the death wall.
I haven't. We have a death wall. I've killed many Call of Cthulhu characters, but the thing with D&D
I'll
is
post a picture online.
Yeah.
there's so much investment, and actually those aren't all the characters. I got a folder. Of
Yeah, we got more.
Yeah, we gotta get
have
Beckley up
we have like 4 or 5 more to put up there.
But there's a D&D, you put so much time and investment into these characters, and with Threshold being a show, I really try very hard not to have us die senselessly. Whereas in some other campaigns or in some other things, like that's part of the realism where you choose to fight the bandits and the bandit kills you, and that's like the end of your story, and you'll never become king of this nation because you were killed by bandits. But I don't really like to do that for Threshold. I think everyone was sort of expecting for there to be more character deaths pretty soon, but I've kind of pulled the punches. There's gonna be towards the end of this Homeland thing. I think there's some moments where I'm like taking the gloves off and I'm gonna say like, okay, who lives, who dies, because I think we need a big shakeup like that.
Well, and in reality, we're making a television show, right? Like
Essentially,
and so to have one of your main characters die from bandits, like that's not
Yeah, imagine if
narratively interesting.
It's like if Ned Stark got killed by bandits in season 1.
Exactly.
Unless that's the theme of your thing is that like in Call of Cthulhu, I love that because life is fragile.
And we decided fairly early on that Threshold wasn't gonna that kind of story.
We did some the ranch timeline was kind of more along those lines.
Yes.
That feeling of like one of our early test episodes when we were figuring out the tone of the show and everything was a bit more dark, where that kind of thing could happen. And at the end of the day, it didn't feel good leaving the table with that feeling. It felt more fun to be heroes.
Well, I didn't feel heroic because in those first test episodes, I was mortally wounded, and then when the time.
Spend a
I didn't feel
in bed.
I didn't feel particularly heroic because I was spending an episode in bed.
And then Jeremy's character tried to rob you.
I was in bed. So
I thought there was I don't know if it was we executed our plan well, but I thought the culmination of the Ragnarok of Rakshasa. I thought that would have been like there's 12 characters around the table.
Yeah,
that would have been.
We somehow managed to.
I think we just pulled it
well,
out
I mean, Rasper essentially narratively he went away.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of moments where if the stakes feel right, then it's like, okay, if I kill someone here, that's fine, and I'm building towards another one of those.
Okay, cool.
Here at the end of the Homeland, and we'll see who lives and who dies and who takes what side and all that.
All's fair in the game of hold.
Yeah.
Steven, would you ever consider doing some afterwards focused on the lore of Threshold?
Yeah, I would love to do that. I would love to, because I spend a lot of time thinking about that kind of stuff. Again, it comes down to time. Like I have been so bad about actually doing afterwards for the actual episodes that I kind of only when I do like a big design piece have I been doing them. Like I did one for the tower, and I did one for the dungeon. I did for the library, for the Naradrome. I did 3 afterwards for it, and they kept getting erased or not uploading properly or things and so I was like, ugh. After the 3rd time of breaking down how I did that dungeon, because the first one I actually designed it live on camera, and actually I do have some afterwards that I was gonna upload for this dungeon that we ran from last episode, because I did design that whole thing on camera. So I'll put those up once we've actually explored that someday. But I would love to do stuff for the lore of Threshold. I don't know if I'm going to get to it. I'm working on another project right now, but I am going to start writing some fiction that is set in Threshold, which will deal much more heavily with the lore and the politics and some of the details that I can do in a novelized format, which I can't necessarily do at the table. And some stuff's kind of like an alternate threshold where some stuff gets retconned and stuff like that to sort of, because
A
we're
little more narrative.
well, more of just to like make things fit properly, because like we'll make a joke here and we'll canon it
Right.
because we're a role-playing game, but when you try to like write that out
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
as a
Like,
scene in
Oh
a
wait, this is ridiculous.
yeah, it's like this does not work. This is not realistic. So I would love to do something like that, but I just don't think that I have. I just don't think that I have the time to do it. Is the truth.
But there are lore things coming.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Do you guys like to watch other D&D shows?
I'll throw on Ack Inc. A lot of times their shows tend to be few and far between enough that I'll throw one out. And I've watched bits and pieces of other ones, but there isn't any I watch religiously right now. Again, time.
Yeah.
It's sort of like I can watch these shows, or we can schedule a time to make ours a lot of the time.
Or even watch a different show or
Yeah.
play a different game.
Yeah, and I don't have as much time as I used to like throw on stuff in the background while I'm doing other things or stuff anymore either, so it's been less of that.
I mean, I've watched a little bit of Critical Role. It's a pretty
Yeah.
standard one.
Because a lot of them started up pretty much right about the same time we did.
Or a little after. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just sort of like there's this like feeling of like being kicked in the stomach a little bit, because it's like because they have it's a jealousy element, because they have like they have professional budgets, and they have professional actors and editors, and they're getting paid to do all that. And so like the product, like you look at it and it's like with more time or with more resources, like we could do this. And so I kind of avoided them for that reason. The other thing too is I tried to listen to I'm a fan of like the McElroy brothers, so I tried to listen to like the Adventure Zone. But the truth is that, and I don't even know how you guys watch our show, to be perfectly honest, because for me like the side conversation and stuff, I just want to be like getting to the story. I want the story to move. I want the things that happen. A lot of the time, like the side conversations or the jokes, while they're funny, for me it doesn't get that satisfaction of narrative that I look for in the content that I consume.
Also, I think one of the biggest obstacles for me is I can't watch one of those shows without comparing every single thing they do to what we do on our show, which sometimes is enjoyable and sometimes just immensely frustrating.
Yeah.
That's also the reason. A lot of times I'll opt for other podcasts or shows and stuff when I do have the time to watch things, just because that's kind of a weird dynamic to have in there.
What other games besides D&D do you like playing, and would you ever consider doing a Call of Cthulhu campaign?
Yeah.
Yes.
Music to Steven's ears right
Yes.
there.
Yes. I was looking at the characters. I want to play Call of Cthulhu right now.
You just want to play Call of Cthulhu?
I want to play Call of Cthulhu tonight.
I'm ready. I don't got it.
All right, let's do it.
Bye, guys.
I would love to do Call of Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu is one of my favorites because I like the horror aspect, and because I like the fact that it sort of turns a lot of the tropes of RPGs on its head. In the sense where a lot of the time you're a big powerful hero and you're going to go fight the monsters, but in Call of Cthulhu, like, you want to try to actively avoid the monsters. Like, if you run into a monster, you're dead. It's not like, oh, surprise, there's kobolds, let's get them. It's like, oh no, there's shoggoths, we're dead, we're dead, or like,
or at least insane.
Yeah, it's not like, let's go meet the king. It's like, oh no, we have to walk past the king, someone's going to go insane, but we have to do it to save the world. Like, I like it because it's so different, and you feel so fragile, and I like that feeling of horror. Like, with the first, Casey and I played together for the first time I played Call of Cthulhu, and there was an awesome feeling of, it was the moment where we're underneath the Hermetic Order of the Silver Twilight Lodge, and we're moving downstairs into this room with all these pits, and it's this huge room under this basement, and they're like these like zombie monsters at the bottom of these pits, and we're just like, holy shit, what is this? And like, at the time I didn't know anything about the Cthulhu mythos or anything about how the game was run, and like just the feeling of like terror of not knowing, like, will I survive if I walk down this staircase? I love that. So I would love to do Call of Cthulhu. I consider almost every session to transition Threshold to a Fate-based.
Yeah.
We almost started with Fate for our first episode.
We were really close, but we decided D&D was more marketable.
We decided that because 5th edition was coming out right around the time we launched, that we would get potentially more viewers that way than a Fate-based RPG. But I love Fate for its simplicity and the fact that like it's character-driven rather than ability-driven.
It's so cinematic too if you play it well.
And I pretty much run the game like Fate anyway.
Yeah. We definitely took some. You used a lot of things from Fate to sort of inform how you run things.
So I'll let you guys answer. I've spoken enough.
Oh, and Kevin has a whole binder full of one-page RPGs that we like to pull out.
I'm a bit of a system junkie. I haven't played half of the rule books I've read, but I like reading RPG systems and stuff. So I have a lot that I would like to play. Josh got me to read Numenera not too long ago.
Yeah.
I think you sent me the PDF.
The cyber system.
Yeah, which is an awesome system that I'd love to play in at some point. And I know Josh has been wanting to play in that one too.
We have Josh first, definitely.
Yeah. I'd love to go back to Fate. We started, Patrick was running a Edge of the Empire campaign, Star Wars, for a while, that I'd love to play more of. Our ongoing Call of Cthulhu stuff is wonderful. I like little systems that are built for one-offs too. I would love to play Everyone as John at some point. I'd love to,
Fiasco.
Fiasco. I've had the book is right on top of the tiles right there, Brian. Look, Pathfinder. There you go. Yeah. See, I've had that for freaking ever. I've got, like Brian said, I have a binder of just one-page RPGs like Lasers and Feelings and stuff that I've not run even half of. So yes, I have a lot of systems I would love to play in.
Casey, you play other systems probably more than we do. You play a lot of Pathfinder.
Look at your effing jacket.
I had two. I didn't actually go. We had these at Gen Con, but
yeah.
I don't know why they were giving out PaizoCon
2011.
Yeah. I play Pathfinder at least once or twice a month with the Society. I'm a Venture Lieutenant for Burbank. So that's one of my main sources for scratching the fantasy itch, and then we played Lasers and Feelings on the way to
briefly.
For 1 second, and then one of the biggest things I always loved was Patrick was running all of the End of the World campaign.
That was the other one. I was
The idea of just like playing yourself in a specific moment, and then like taking that moment and then extrapolating on how you're dealing with the end of the world was really cool, and
lots of immersion.
Lots of immersion.
That might be a fun one to run on camera sometime too, if Patrick.
And then
wants
we
did record the Halloween
That's
one.
right. We did the zombie one. I forgot about
We did
that.
the Halloween one. I don't think that ever got released.
I don't think so.
Does Dread count as a system? Because we
I love
Dread.
Dread.
I love Dread.
For those of you who haven't heard of Dread, it's a RPG system where all of the rolls and everything are determined by a Jenga tower sitting in the middle of a table. And
so instead of rolling dice, whenever you do something that like so you roll a dice in D&D anytime there's a chance for failure. Anytime there's a chance for failure or a negative outcome in Dread, you have to pull with standard Jenga rules, you have to pull a Jenga block and set it on the tower, and when the tower falls, your character dies. Or is removed somehow. Yeah. Is somehow taken out of the game.
It's very much made for like short, one-shot horror-style campaigns where characters are killed off.
I thought Dread was fun, but I think it's a poor format for storytelling.
I think the problem was we were trying to tell the wrong type, because you played when we did Branch Time.
Yeah, I think it's
the wrong type of story.
Yeah, it was like I played one other time when you were just had we were campers out in the woods.
That was great.
And that worked really well.
Really
I think it's best when you have like a killer. You're basically using a horror trope of some kind.
Yeah.
I would love to do like it's like political, right? And so like it's political connivings, and then like when the tower falls, like you have a
scandal.
Up in your face. Yeah, there's a scandal that takes you out of the race.
I love it. That would be a fun way to do that.
Next up, 2020, we'll do an election special.
Yeah. I had a Dread game I wanted to run.
Someone was asking about the open legend system.
I've never heard of that.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh.
That's all they say.
Send us a link.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Look at it.
What's
Oh,
Patrick's working
any
on-
more drunk films? Please let there be more.
More drunk. Oh, they saw
drunk.
that.
movie.
Forget?
We've been talking about doing
That's
another
right.
one of those again. Once more, it's just like we have to find a weekend night where we're all just like bored and drunk.
That was sort of a magical time because
We also had the camera at the
we
time.
had
and,
we had like less responsibilities in our works,
Mhm.
and it was kind of a lull period, and we were just kind of like hanging out. It was just us in the house. It was,
Well, it was Memorial Day weekend, so we had the next day off.
That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
And so we got drunk at a
So
barbecue.
Yeah.
we spend less time just like chilling around the house together,
Right.
all huddled up. Like usually there's
Yeah,
more,
Josh.
there's more purpose. Yeah, I'm the one guy that lives like
Far
on the
away.
west side.
Yeah.
Yeah, far
Like a
away.
different country over there.
Yeah.
We say Josh lives on
He
Mars.
lives in Mars.
Patrick's also writing. What's that fantasy or system that Patrick's writing for?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't think you talked to me about that.
Oh,
He might still be in the comments, so he can answer that. Patrick.
I'll ask him about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But if you subscribe to our Patreon, then we can buy beer and get drunk and make those movies.
Actually,
No.
we're not spending your Patreon money on beer.
No.
No,
We
we're
promise.
we're actually still paying off
we're,
debt.
We're paying off our cameras.
Yeah, the camera system.
And we're paying Eric for being kind
Audio
enough to
system.
edit all of our stuff
Yeah.
and do all the legwork
Yeah.
on these things.
So,
Once we actually are making a little more money, we can like.
yeah, once we
fix
pay the
set.
cameras off and stuff, then we'll have some.
Then
We'll
we
have
can spend
a
the
little bit more
Patreon money on
freedom.
beer. What is
It's
that?
very close. Like
Yeah, we're pretty close. We're like
Yeah.
$200 away.
And we've just learned that our audio setup will be improved very shortly.
Oh really?
Yeah. Yeah, so the
Boxes?
if you guys
Yeah.
have noticed on a couple of the audio, a couple of the episodes, the audio is dumped, and it's because we're recording separate audio into this through this little box that I think has a either faulty power or faulty switch.
Yeah.
It'll turn off, and we won't notice it until the episode's over. So then we have to use just the GoPro cameras. It's like, why do we mic up at all?
Yeah.
We have an expensive piece of equipment that
From
we're
day
about to
one.
get fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Day one
And
was. For sure.
So our lapel mics should be
I kind of
working
love this little guy.
Yeah,
consistently.
this guy's kind of pretty cool. I don't
This
know how it
guy's
sounds,
wonderful.
Probably really good.
You sound alright?
Do we sound good?
though. Give us a thumbs up in the comments.
So someone was saying, Josh, you have a lot of off-the-wall characters. What is with the garden tools?
What is with the garden?
Great question.
let me answer that by asking
How many
you
more
this.
garden tools do we
We'll have to
have?
delve.
Shovel.
We'll have
There's
to delve.
shovel. There's shovels and shovel-like tools.
Now we have to delve deep into
But
Josh's psyche to answer this.
What else have we?
I don't think they mean garden tools as in you only
I-
use gardening shears.
I think
I think they're just saying
it's more-
you've made a shovel character.
The
Why
further
do
away
they-
you can get from tropes, the more interesting I think it gets. So, like having a knight with a sword with armor, or that that works for the king, or like
Thanks, Josh.
yeah. But your character is this state. You found other ways to make your
Yeah.
character interesting, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I think the further you get away from what's already been done before, the more interesting it gets. There are so many ways to do that. One of them is to have an interesting weapon or an interesting character tick or something like that. So
Robots.
nothing special about
Right.
garden tools. Just the
There's only so many things that can be a replacement for a weapon,
Yeah.
sure.
and a
Yeah.
shovel is about the right size.
True.
Shovel works. Also, improvised weapons are a ton of fun to roleplay.
Yeah.
And are unexpected for both the character or for the player and the audience. Like finding something that you can fight with. That's what makes I think monks kind of fun. It's a lot of hand and fist stuff, and you have to work with the environment.
Jackie Chan your
Yeah.
way through it.
Yeah, you kind of have to use the environment a little bit more than just hacking and slashing all the time. So
Yeah, because if you look at it, medieval knight warfare is pretty boring to look at. It's just two guys.
Don't tell that to any medieval knights.
Yeah, Battle of Agincourt would disagree with you.
Oh, maybe. I was thinking two guys looking at each other and just waiting for the opportune moment to get at each other. Whereas cinematically among flipping around and stuff is interesting.
It's a little more fantastical, I suppose you could say. Yeah.
I think, as far as like combat goes, Steven having us describe our actions in detail and not letting us hand wave like, and we hit him again, and we hit him again, and we hit him again.
That's what I'm missing. Huge. That's what we miss as we get to the higher levels, because we get so like there's so many rules and so many things going on that it's not. The rules sort of get in the way of our ability to describe things. Like we're having to waste our words on like, okay, so I'm making this save. I'm making this check so he can make this save. Like rather than I'm trying to push him down.
Like instead of describing one attack, now anybody with multi-attack has to describe 2 or 3 attacks at our level. Like it's
descriptive combat is very.
I love that, and that's what I miss about. As we get to higher levels, that kind of has to fall away a little bit because there's so much other stuff going on, other than like the description of spells and stuff.
I think it puts pressure on us, and we
to remember to.
I don't think it's a level thing. I think it's a time thing, and I think that as our level has gone up, the story has been more complex. Yeah. Like the story gets more complex, so we have less time. Like our quests. Our episodes are no longer like we go to a point from A to B to meet a guy. Like that used to be an episode, and we'd have a lot of time to take our time describing what we see, like world building, all that. And now there's a lot going on, and we kind of have a tendency to like rush through combat to get it over with, so we can get back to the story. Whereas the combat can be part of the visual.
That's a really good point.
Maybe that's something we can touch back on. It's tough because I think you'd have to slow the pace of the storytelling down a bit to make the time for it, and that means more episodes.
And the thing is, like, the combats have to be set up.
Right.
They have to be set up in order for them to be like narratively interesting.
Yeah, it's more work.
It's not so much that it's more work, it's just that it's less time, so we have to spend a lot of time setting up the combat, like setting up a villain that we dislike, so when we fight him it feels good.
Right.
Yeah.
But also like, D&D just sort of requires that you fight a bunch of monsters in a dungeon. Like that's like how the system works.
Yeah, maybe you think there's a little bit of fighting the system in that regard?
A little bit, I think so, because we're something like Fate, you could be like attacking someone socially, or like to take them out of this fight during combat. Like you can say shitty things to them and insult them, and that can actually have an effect on the combat. In D&D, it sort of requires you to whittle down their hit points.
Right. Play a bard and cast vicious mockery on them.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's ways to get around it, but like you can just do it as anyone. You don't have to be some kind of magic bard that can somehow hurt you with words.
There are ways to like intimidate and stuff, but I think like once you're in combat, there's a very strong player motivation to the mechanics
because
to continue the
all
combat.
that intimidating does is make it easier to hit next round.
Right. So I think it requires some homebrew to say like you have other options, players. And they're just as effective.
Or switching the system to in role playing in general. There's plenty of ways to do that. But in D&D, it kind of puts you in this box.
And I mean, there's less mechanic in Persuade, but like, I mean, Persuade and Intimidate, those can just end combats too with the right roll and the right role playing on it. So, I mean, we've ended combats on Persuade or Intimidate rolls before.
It's true.
We've completely stopped combats before they started with such rolls too. So there is a little bit of that, but I agree it's clunkier and there's less like rules infrastructure for it.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know if what the viewers are more interested in. Like, do you want more descriptive combats, or do you want more time spent on the story? Like, I would love to hear like what the like viewer take is on that, because I don't know, everyone's so different. Like some players are very interested in like the numbers behind the combat and are very like into that aspect and having a very like planned out fight. And then we're usually more like jump in there and just start role playing and having fun with it and keep the pace going. but
And we levitate a guy into space.
Yeah.
but like that
He was annoying.
jumping in doesn't always result in like the most
Interesting.
interesting outcome or the most like played up and set up combat. Sometimes it gets us through it quickly, but not satisfyingly maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So
There's a balance to be had somewhere in the middle that
Yeah.
I'm sure we can find.
Sure.
Good.
No, I didn't have any.
Okay. Someone asked about Tabletop Simulator.
Oh yeah, what about it?
And they were wondering if we'd ever consider running something in like planning a session.
I've never played anything on it, but
I don't know what it is.
I've heard cool. It's a VR game, or I think it can also just be not VR.
It's just a,
think
it's
it
just a
could
video
just be-
game. It's
it's on Steam. I know. I've seen it on
It
there.
just lets you
It's
build. Essentially, it gives you all the tools like a physics engine that lets you basically play board games in a imaginary 3D space. So
Yeah.
we could all put on our VR goggles or play on our computers and run a game in this tabletop simulator. So like you can throw dice, or your brother actually is designing his game in tabletop simulator.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it does. It doesn't do anything that you couldn't do physically with a camera pointing down, but it's more accessible.
Right.
Yeah.
So instead of having to buy all the tiles or build all the really cool like set pieces or characters, you have them all.
I guess you could build the whole dungeon, right?
Yeah,
You could build
yeah,
a
you could
dungeon
even-
out of imaginary blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
Well,
super neat.
I'll probably look at it if nothing else.
It'd be very visual, which
yeah.
would be interesting.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
usually rely too much on the visual aspect of the storytelling as much as we do just the narratives.
Yeah, we let the viewer...
It takes a lot of time for like if I'm setting up a dungeon, like I have to draw it, or I have to put the whole thing out for you guys to like see the whole map
Right.
ahead of time, and I don't really like doing that because then even though we try to resist, there's going to be some.
It's like,
there's
oh, we
gonna
can
be
see
some
that there's
metagaming.
another room that we didn't look in over there.
Yeah, and so
Sure.
I've played entire Pathfinder sessions on a system where it's just like everybody's on the internet using like Ventrilo to talk, and then
Mhm.
it's just like a grid-based system, and then
Oh, yeah,
sometimes
you-
you can even like import like the maps from like, the Pathfinder
Yeah,
modules.
yeah.
Yeah, to be clear, this is more like Roll20 is
Roll-
sort of the
I
big
think that's
one
what it
that
is, yeah.
that people use for all that
D&D
stuff.
I think is launching
Table-
their own now.
They are, yeah. D&D is we're launching all kinds of online tools right now.
That's how a lot of people play.
Yeah.
I personally don't really like. I feel like I spend, as I've said this before, a lot of time in front of the computer. I don't want to also play my board games in front of a computer.
Yeah.
And because in the times that I have tried to use those kinds of tools, I feel like I have fought them almost as much as I have. I've like tried to use even my computer for like in IRL games like monster tracking and things like that, where you're.
In any case, I've never really heard of RPGs on Tabletop Simulator specifically, so I'll probably do some reading on that at least now that I'm aware that that's a thing. I thought it was mostly just for board games
Be
and
kinda
stuff,
fun.
but I'd never looked too close
To build a
that.
dungeon would be super cool to be able to like have your little miniatures on this
Totally.
big space. How cool would that have been?
Yeah,
in
there's a
tower?
pretty big like RPG element to Tabletop Simulator, and you can download packs, so people mod it, and they're
Okay,
made
so-
packs. So
If again in a world where I had unlimited time, we'd just make threshold packs for that. But
That'd be cool.
yeah,
Yeah. If we get to $70,000 a month on the page,
we could all just live off of that.
Okay. Let me. Sorry, there's a bunch of questions just asked.
Oh.
Lately,
Great.
characters have come and go, and the classic squad has been altered by story. How do you, as a group, decide who goes away, where, and when, or how much of it is just the DM letting you know?
Brian?
So, Jamie left because we were at a point in the story where he was put in a place where he had to take two roads, and so Stephen and I together decided that it would have been more interesting for him to take this other side. Maybe we don't know what's happening with him right now.
a lot of the time when a character has dropped in the past, it's usually been for like a pretty strong story reason. Like Clarion was the first because we wanted to do that was sort of a little bit meta where we wanted to do the homeland, and the characters that we could figure out how to get there were Clarion and Jamie, and so that story kind of shook up.
Homecoming.
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 What did I say?
Homeland.
Homeland.
Homecoming. So he was sort of the first to go because he's obviously been captured by the Thothesians. And then Jamie kind of took his time coming back, and then Rasper obviously was sent against his will to the ranch timeline. So a lot of the time it's like a role or something like that.
Yeah, it's almost always not like a scheduling thing for them. It tends to be a story motivated decision when the party shifts around. Excluding like the Heroes of the Fanged Coast season, we just kind of took who was available in a given. That was sort of a different format attempt for us to deal with scheduling issues.
And it worked out fine. We got a bunch of different characters, and
I mean, you mostly just decided you wanted to tell bigger, like different stories than you were able to tell, right?
Little stories that we did in like a session or two.
Yeah. There's been some questions like, "Oh, when are you guys going back to the ghost town? Or when are we going to see Ice Age?"
Lots of setups and things.
Yeah, just tons of setups.
So many setups.
Tons of
like
setups for that.
Haddock Cave and
Haddock Cave. And
I never went to Haddock's Cave.
No, we never.
We got to the entrance.
We never did things going on. There's a lot of characters that we need to service, and a lot of that stuff is sort of narrowly focused in terms of like Marenton, and we wanted to get Rasper back after that, and then after that I wanted us to get to the homeland.
Yeah, you wanted to start doing big world stuff basically.
Yeah, and I wanted to get down to the elves, because Vel's been away from that for a long time, and I know that was an area that we wanted to explore. So we'll probably get to there soonish. He wouldn't know about that, but some of that stuff is certainly going to get paid off one way or another at some point. There's something else that we were talking about before that. What was it? Oh, it was characters coming and going.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time it's just sort of like someone who had we brought Josh and Casey in on this one because they hadn't played in a while, and it was like Jamie's on and out. Let's bring two guys in. And they both said, "Well, I want to play arcane spellcasters." We said, "Okay, we can make this work." So after this Homeland arc, there'll probably be a shakeup, and we'll probably have some different. We'll sort of see.
I gotta see how things play out, but I'm thinking that at the end of the Homeland, it might be an opportunity for me to swap characters.
Retire.
Maybe not retire permanently, but at least swap to a.
You can always come out of retirement.
Of course. Yeah. Ask Rasper.
Part of my favorite part of making this whole show is when Stephen puts the character in a specific decision. And then that ends the episode, and then we go upstairs and we all sit around, and rather than making you guys watch 15 minutes of us hemming and hawing, like, oh, what decision? We actually go upstairs, we talk about it, and then it's like, okay, so now I know, and take my time, thought about it, this is where the character's going to go, and then we can start off the next episode like, I made a choice, I'm going this way, and then that's...
Yeah, we do get some great moments of like, it's like, what makes the most sense for the character? What's the most interesting thing we can do for where the story is going? I like those conversations a lot too.
We did. The best one of those was still after the first season when we all just sort of figured out like what all of our characters would do after.
The 2 years or whatever.
Yeah, when we decided on the time lapse. Yeah,
the time jump, and I also like when we have questions like, "What did Jamie do?" and we don't know. Yeah. Like we just leave that as a big. It's a big question mark for the viewers.
It's going to be fun when we get back and actually see what Jamie's up to. Yeah.
Next question.
On a somewhat related note, to what extent do the players plan character moments out of session?
For me, not at all.
Yeah.
Almost
not at all.
Yeah, unless there's like a really big one that's going to influence what the next session is entirely, then we might discuss it just so Steven knows what to prep and stuff.
Usually what I do is I'll figure out like, okay, this is a big character choice. This is a big character moment that's coming up. And then I have to sort of meticulously plan both in-game and out-of-game and like little nudges, like Jamie's whole, Jamie's choice at the end of this last, session he was in. That was a choice that like I knew was coming for a while, and so I had set it up, and actually just even some of our like conversations that we've had at like the table and stuff, just like trying to nudge things in directions so that we get the sort of the predictive.
Well, and it's really
choice.
a testament to Steven and his DM ability that he knows our personalities so much that he knows the kind of hooks that he can throw out there to really, like, particularly for me, he knows how I play the game, so he can just throw out the laziest of hook. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I want to follow that, you know? And so...
And granted, there have been times where I have something set up and someone does something so, like, out of the blue. It's like, oh no. Like, okay, but usually there's, like, a contingency plan.
What if we let the Black Dragon just roam free and we all just get out of here?
What if we decide that we don't want to be heroes and we all just go home and not fight the Black Dragon?
But that would be awesome. I would have loved that choice
That would
because
have been
then,
so interesting.
then it would have been like, oh, what? The section of Moray is like openly known to be ruled by a black dragon. Like, what does that do? That would have been a whole separate campaign where we got to go and kill it. So a lot of the time too is I'll have a character moment where it's like I have two options that I'm a fan of on both sides. So it's like whatever they choose, it's a good choice. There's not like I won't be disappointed. I won't be disappointed by.
I know personally, like sometimes I go into episodes, and I think that's part of being a character. Is like I'll go into episodes thinking like, okay, what happened last episode? I mean, this is all generic stuff, but when I go into who, you know, if I want a confrontation, is something building? Is that building inside me because I just want to see it because it's, or is it actually within the character? And then it's like, oh no, I really want to talk to so and so about whatever it is, and then when Steven gives those times for like break off into two groups and like go, then those are those moments where most of the time I don't think we have those planned, but sometimes I go and I'm like, oh, maybe I do want to like talk to Jamie about whatever.
Yeah, something as simple as, hey, Steven, I think Clarion really wants to talk to Jamie about XYZ this episode, and then we'll find time for it.
Oh yeah, and sometimes if I want to have a big conversation with a specific other player's character, a lot of times before the session I'll be like, hey, I'm gonna come at you with this, just be ready for it. And a lot of times I won't give details, I'll just be like, hey, I'm gonna do this.
That way it really helps the immediacy of the moment if you don't plan too much.
What's that? Pamela, have you ever considered getting your dice exercised?
No, but I probably should. Even with the change of table, it still seems to be like it's just I always seem to have
new
like
dice.
It's got to be the dice.
I think I just need to have new dice. Like, it's
dice.
It's weird because I have 3 different D20s.
We'll go to the game store and we'll get you some new dice.
No, screw that. We're going to Renaissance Fair tomorrow. We're getting new dice at the Renaissance Fair.
Can you get dice at the Renaissance Fair?
I got my dice at the Renaissance Fair. They're obsidian and they're bother as shit.
You should try and
It's a Renaissance Fair. There will be dice there.
Okay. So I'll have to show you guys which dice I get tomorrow. But no, I
You
had.
guys are going to the Los Angeles Renaissance Fair tomorrow.
Yeah.
You'll probably see Kevin.
I'll be towering over it.
But no, I've never actually thought of getting them exercise.
And if you see Casey at a hypnotist show, run away.
Yes.
Run away.
Inside joke.
Inside joke.
All right.
Okay, let's see. There's a question a little while back about what were the other prizes from Meta's game show?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is a good question.
Let's look in the book.
I don't think that's in the book.
No, but
you want me to look?
You told me what a few of them were.
Yeah.
Because they were all crafted for different people.
Yeah,
right?
each one belongs to a person.
Like I know the piece of paper was like a title for for Jamie. Like it was like a dukedom or something.
Yeah, with some land.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Upgrade.
Great.
Yeah.
Ka probably had a sword or something.
Yeah, Ka. There was a sword in there for Ka because he needed a.
What'd you end up getting? It was a scroll or something, right?
No, you got
the coat.
Oh, that's right.
I got my coat of
holding.
holding.
That's right. That's right.
Freaking mini pocket coat.
Well, it's a coat of holding.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a coat of holding.
Each pocket has its own pocket dimension that you can hold.
Yeah, it can fit a whole person. We figured
Oh.
that. Remember? Because
You climbed out of it.
You climbed inside of
each one could fit at least a person.
Yeah, no, I climbed out of it for sure.
Yeah. I don't have the. There was a title. I think Ka. I was gonna give him a. I was actually gonna give him a sword very very similar to the one he ended up getting when he didn't win that. ended up just taking the properties from that sword and putting it on the sword of Saint Mark that he found.
Makes sense.
I don't remember. I had them all. Let's see. Well, who's the other? Who
Did you have one for Christine in there?
I must have, but I don't remember what it is.
I don't remember what Christine's was.
I don't remember what it is.
And then just the four of us.
Yeah, I think it was just 4 of us at that point. And
Yeah,
Mary.
yeah, and then because you were rescuing Mary. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So I don't remember what the other ones were.
See, now I want to know what Christine's was.
There weren't that like we got most of them. I think there was just one for Christine that.
There's one Christine that I don't remember.
Yeah.
The problem is like Christine, I can't give Christine much more in terms of magic items.
What are you gonna do? Increase her AC?
Yeah. I'm gonna just build a melting gun.
Just melt.
I'm just gonna
Christine.
melt her armor because it's not magical.
No,
it's just full plate.
Throw a rust monster
I'm
at
just
us.
gonna melt it.
Yeah, Rust Monster.
Rust Monster fixed that
Originally,
right
when
up.
Meta's challenge was gonna be a bunch of encounters like designed to fuck you guys up.
Right.
Christine was gonna be a room full. I designed the stats for them and everything. They were just big versions of rust monsters, like large rust monsters that were gonna just try to eat everyone's
Right.
and eat everyone's armor.
Do they have? I don't know if they have armor, hit points, and hardness and all that kind of stuff.
No,
so I don't
it
know
just
how
has
the
rules.
Modern
You
Rust Monster
deal.
works.
It lowers the AC of the item every time the rust monster attacks it, and then when it reaches 0 or something, it's just destroyed.
Here, we're starting to run low on time, so let's try and hit a few more of these questions pretty quick here.
Let's do it.
We were only going 2 hours, right? Or
I thought we were going to noon.
oh, are we going till noon? Then fine.
Yeah.
Never mind. Continue bantering.
I think our plan was just go until
we
Oh.
had a question.
That's fine. Cool. I might
until
go
we
get
die.
a drink or something in a sec. But
Okay.
I'm going to be at this table longer than I thought I was.
However, now that I know that works, I want to make like the Rusty Knight.
The
Just
Rusty
has,
Knight.
like, who's like wearing full plate, but it's been
all-
hit with
Oh,
Rust
it's
Monster
bad
like 3
full
times. It's
plate?
like really bad.
So it's like you just like reskin like chainmail or something for
Yeah.
Rusty at full plate.
Ooh, that's good.
pretty cool.
That's a
so
cool
you can
idea.
have the look of the full plated armored knight, but without like the game breaking first level. I have
The image of a guy that's like in very rusty armor too is just kind of a cool image. Yeah.
that's a cool character.
What do we got?
What's the best way to interact with you guys?
Twitter.
The YouTube comments.
Twitter's good. I think YouTube comment
Yeah.
sections is actually
Yeah.
what we look the most at right now.
I will always pop onto our Reddit at least once a week.
Yeah, I peek in there every once in a while too. I've had a few.
But yeah, YouTube comments seems to be the biggest way, and then Twitter is probably the second biggest.
I no longer have a Twitter and Instagram.
You
Facebook.
killed Twitter too.
I killed
huh?
Twitter and Instagram as well. I don't have a Snapchat. I killed them all the other day. So
He's off the grid.
The YouTube comments are the best way to get a hold of me, and I check those
Yeah,
pretty
that's-
regularly.
If the fastest way is certainly I look at the YouTube comments, especially like right around the days that the episodes go
we
up.
look at it and we're like, oh, do they like
Do
us?
they like what we
Do they
did?
like us?
But beyond that, yeah, like Pamela said, I try to check the Reddit at least once a week or so.
Yeah, and tweeting at us too also.
In my Twitch stream, I stream.
I'm terrible at responding to tweets, so I apologize if you tweet me and I don't
what's
respond.
your Twitch?
Same as my Twitter. I'm just twitch.tv/the1kll. Same as my Twitter at the1kll. So, and I check my Twitter more than I.
That's
check the-
KALEL.
THE1KALEL.
So I learned that Superman had another name, it was just KAL-L.
Oh yeah.
Before.
Oh okay.
I didn't know that.
Let's not get into Superman continuity right now.
I'm on everything, so you can talk to me however you want.
Ooh.
His phone number is
So available.
555.
Area code 775.
555.
Just try to avoid posting things on my Facebook because my mom's on there, and like she follows.
What
me,
have you done?
So don't do that.
Brian. You don't tell the internet not to do something.
Yeah.
They're good people though.
Yeah.
Okay, there was a specific question about running a campaign, a planar travel-based campaign in Sigil.
In what?
Sigil.
Sigil? I don't know if that's like a world.
I think that's a setting-ish thing, and I'm not actually super
we don't know.
familiar with it though.
Okay.
I don't know.
That sounds interesting.
Sorry, I don't understand your question.
That sounds interesting.
I feel like
though.
the Alexa robot. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Okay, let's see. What were some times when players surprised you, and how did you handle it? I think that was for a DM, for the DMs at the table.
I mean, I could talk about Zach at the end of my Homeland campaign, but I'm not particularly proud of the way I handled that. So yeah,
It's a good lesson, though.
it is. I think I grew a lot as that was one of my first times DMing, especially.
Can you explain it? I actually don't. Remember.
Yeah, I don't have any moments that I can think of. So
Yeah, can you talk about some moments that players surprised
Nothing
you and
surprises
how you handled
Steven.
no, it happens all the time, but
Right.
I can't think of a specific instance.
Fair enough. So for those of you who didn't watch or don't remember, like the last 2 episodes of my little Homeland mini campaign, the first one, we had sort of framed a situation where they were in talking to the little girl who's like an avatar of Lunam, and then a contingent from the Church of Lunam had showed up outside and were being kind of shady. And so I had intended for the party who had been hired by the Church of Lunam to come out and talk to these people and make a decision that way. Instead, the party, especially Zach's character, Vox, decided that immediately that they were a threat to this child, and they were going to fortify themselves inside the grove that they were in, to the point where some of the other characters wanted to go out, and Zach put up thorns and made them walk through it if they wanted
Yeah,
to
that
get
was
out of
me.
the
I had to
You
use
and,
my sword trance,
yeah.
do a backflip.
Well, and Patrick, as Toss, just walked through the whole thing. It chunked like half of his hit points away walking through that thing.
That was a surprise.
And I eventually sort of that threw a wrench into my whole plan on how that encounter was going to go. They ended up killing the lich that they met off screen because I was just trying to get the characters to come out and like explain that he wasn't a bad guy or something, and nothing really seemed to work there. And then and there was like some party tension.
Expecting Zach to so heavily.
He really doubled down on that for reasons I still don't fully understand.
I think that he saw it as, because he was a Terra Totem, I think that and that's sort of the problem with like having one character so vastly different than the other.
I was struggling with Vox kind of the whole time because it was hard to figure out. Like, he was kind of hired as a guide, but he didn't really do that much guiding.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of struggling with his place in the party the whole time, and
just showed itself there.
And instead of addressing it earlier like I should have, it sort of, that was where it finally came to a boiling point. And I ended up just sort of strong-arming my way through that whole situation instead of finding a more elegant and equitable solution for everybody at the table. That said, I mean, talking to you guys afterwards, I think almost everybody. Zach wasn't too happy with how that went, but I think everybody else seemed at least okay with how that played out.
I think it was fine.
So yeah, like I said, it's I learned a lot about handling situations like that. I hope I would do better in the future, but that's certainly the standout one where players surprised me.
Were you okay?
Yeah, Casey's tablet just wasn't getting charged.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably Windows.
Like,
Yeah.
even from a non-DM standpoint, is there any place where you guys have been surprised by other
other players?
or anything?
I still think I couldn't, and it was regrettable because I was unconscious, but like the whole I wanted to influence the Black Dragon situation, but I was unconscious because I'd just been like acid sprayed twice or something. So I was just like laying there, and then Zach's and like everybody's like, this dragon thing's like a real thing. Maybe we should like rethink our decisions. And like Slick's the only voice, and then like all of a sudden Zach's like, no, I don't think Casey, even though he's unconscious right now, would really want us to like just sacrifice these 25 people. And I was just like. And it's like some people looked at me and I was like, I can't do anything. I'm dead. So I thought that was like a really. And then I think the Ozzy Daxis that whole like that was very
Ocellax,
that whole like trying to handle that peacefully, and it was like, no, like I thought everybody else saw him as the bad guy, and then I guess it wasn't surprising, but like
Everybody but
like,
me saw him as the bad guy. I enjoyed that.
but trying to cope with the party, trying to cope with like Kevin thinking that this is a redeemable person was like really, I thought it was really hard and interesting and somewhat surprising.
Yeah,
He kind of was.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, Logan.
Yeah. I didn't plug in the power cable all the way, so it shut down.
I've enjoyed seeing. Who's your monk character? Isasik. I like seeing Kevin's playing with the Isasik sort of like idea in his head, because
Isasik is like his ideas have like informed Vel's thinking a little bit in a weird way.
So whenever Kevin like kills someone because it's like the better option, I always.
For those of you guys who don't remember, Isasik there were these bandits that we let live, and Isasik sort of argued like, no, we should probably just kill them here because they're just going to be back to fight us later.
Yeah, these are bad men. They should be
They're
killed.
bad. We should
He
kill
came
them.
from, I think it was not like a Nodish culture.
Yeah, he's from
Like a small
not
village.
Nodish. He's from Gigaplacia.
Oh, it's like
Yeah.
Megaplex. And
down in the
they were
down
very
south.
like practical with their application of.
Yeah, and it's just kind of
crime,
like
punishment.
these people are bad.
Like
They
they have
should-
done bad things. They have forfeited their right to be acceptable.
It was like the greater good. It was like
Yeah.
society is
Yeah.
one living creature, and
You have to excise the cancer.
exactly.
And
yeah.
Christine was like, no, we should probably do the merciful thing and give them a second chance. And then they, sure enough, those thugs showed up later on.
That was
to
also
sort of fight everyone.
That sequence is one of my favorite because Casey as Gogana was also freaking fantastic.
Yeah, 'cause
that was a great.
Gogana too had a different
Well,
opinion because his idea was this is community. Like if you, I'm giving you this last chance. If you do not, if,
and then they failed it, and like he just like methodically drops them off
he
cliffs.
said like I will throw you out of society.
Yeah.
and he just threw them off a cliff.
Yeah.
in time.
I always pictured Gogana as the Rock, but like wider. Like someone took the
Like,
Rock
honestly,
and like
I kind of-
Photoshop and stretched him a little
Kind
bit.
of like Maui in Moana, like
Yeah.
how like big
Yeah.
he is. Like that's pretty much what I
but
pictured.
like a little bit taller.
Yeah, and like like wider, like thicker all the way
Gogana
through.
asked for their names one at a time.
Yeah, he wanted everyone's. The first time he wanted everyone's name. He was like,
Snacker.
"What is your name? What is
Brought to you
your
by-
name?
I would like one
Yeah.
of the red ones.
What is your name?"
That was a really fun character moment for
That was great.
Actually, I'm gonna. Do you want ice or anything
Yes.
too? Okay, I'm gonna run up and grab.
Yeah, this is the part of the party where.
Keep talking. Now that
Yeah.
Casey's back, he can talk about Gogana too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And like
It's Gogana and his-
Community-driven guy was just like tribal mentality. You know, if you're not contributing to the tribe, then you're not worth very much. And give them a second try and just and then I thought it was really interesting that like even though like tribal formation and Isasik, like these are two people from like two very different cultures, but they had like the commonality of the language. And so like the fact that they were aligned but like so vastly different worldly was just like I thought that was like really interesting.
I think the reason it worked is because we know who Christine is, and Christine represents Western culture and like the perfect society, kind of like the first world culture, and we all have this like concept of empathy and justice and what's right and what's wrong, and it's if someone commits a minor crime or something like that, it's not necessarily right to kill them or outcast them from society. But
or outcast them from cliffs.
Yeah, exactly. But this is like also like a different culture, different world, and we got to see that kind of morality get challenged. I'd love to see more of that too.
I absolutely. Yeah, I'm super interested in sort of the politics of like because we're sort of exploring the feudal system with maybe like I think we're gonna maybe start to see the start of like maybe a sort of democracy system, and I think it would be really interesting to explore that, especially with Christine, because it's like especially like to sort of force Pamela to do a choice like, hey, if you were Christine and someone says, I would like to start a democratic society, that means that you lose your position.
Yes.
Like, you're no longer a lord of
Yeah,
anything.
but if
But
I
is
knew
it
Christine,
is
you
it
might
the-
make that choice.
But that's why I think it's such an interesting question is, does Christine think that democracy is the right choice? Because I don't really see many nobles who think that the small people should be able to make decisions for
Yeah, not at
themselves.
all.
We've seen the small folk and the commoners make terrible decisions. Like, let's all follow Tonbert Cooper into the gates of hell.
Yes.
Like,
Oh god, that's one of my saddest. Sorry, tangent. Tombert. Because of the freaking stone circle you had him sitting in. On my random table of Nexus encounters, one of them was to have a random gate open up and Tonbert Cooper to come charging into the Nexus, into the middle of these elves. I forgot to do it. That was one of the ones I was definitely going to do, and I forgot to do it in Homeland.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Tonbert Cooper. But so I would love to explore some more the philosophy of, and we're gonna there's some of that building in the Homeland. It's slow. It's at a simmer right now, and we're about to crank it up to a boil after this Inside Out session that I have to do.
Bam.
Can I have a Coke in a glass?
You may.
Pretty please.
Oh, someone asked, where do you guys get the ideas for the cold opens?
They come from. We have a writer's room that meticulously.
No, so they pretty much come okay, we're all ready.
Half of our cold opens
What do we
are
want to do
just.
for cold open?
Half of that brainstorming process is just what you guys end up seeing. It's us just messing around while the cameras are on before we start playing, and then us looking at the camera and going, yeah, there was probably something in there. Go ahead, Eric.
The cold opens started out where I would just look at the camera and say a one-liner.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first ever cold open is, today we're going on a vacation to Bullybog.
You were wearing a Hawaiian shirt too.
Yeah, the original idea for the cold open was that when we were still testing our show, we were going to have a sponsor every week, which was some random product. Like the first one we ever did was Fiji water, and it was about artisanal aquifers.
But,
so that's why the first story of
That's why
Threshold
Zero
revolves
Date has an
around
aquifer.
water.
Well, the most infamous one, of course, is Ken's Steakhouse Ranch.
That was the second one we did. So. I would also try to work an element of the product into the thing. So in the Ranch Timeline episode, the mayor, after he fled, went out and hid at a ranch. And so that was a
guy named Ken hid him at his
his ranch. So that was and so those were the original cold opens, and then we did the bully bog thing, and then we would just come up with little jokes or something, and then we did the whole arrow dimension discussion following the
Yeah, that was sort of just hey, what if we just talk these conversations that we have? I feel like people would want to hear them. Let's just staple them to the beginning of the episode.
And then there was Master Dag School of Axery, which was I will admit that I was wrong. I was wrong because I was super opposed to doing the whole bit of Master Dag School of Axery because I was like, this is super labor intensive. And I have to go to bed. It's a Thursday night. I have to go to bed. I have work in the morning. And so everyone was like, okay, well, Rob Gilpin at the time was like, it's fine. We'll do it tonight. And it turned out amazing. So I'm so glad we did it.
He and Josh pulled an all-nighter almost to freaking make that.
That's when they kept, and that's when we used to shoot Sunday night.
Yeah,
and the episode would air Monday morning.
Yeah, we had we had an entirely different workflow. Yeah, we'd shoot the day before the episode aired. It was a different time.
But they slowly got more. I think it culminates in maybe too many cooks or something like that, which was our most elaborate, where we just had we had a party one time and we just brought anyone who came to the party down to be in that episode, which is why there's so many and we have those clips of Russ from Reno it is weird cutting himself we didn't see those, we didn't approve those at all. He just said I'll do some and I'll send it to
we were
you.
hey, could you do some stuff with the puppets and just get do some weird stuff for the
well, he did weird stuff.
Yeah, he's sort of he's in a cloak and he's cutting himself. It's what?
And it was Okay, put it in.
That's what we got.
And then
turned out really well.
yeah, those are always so good when we do them, but it just got to the point where we were like, what's our cold open? And we were like, I don't know. And then essentially now we're at the point where we were for a while like writing sketches.
We have a distinct process for cold opens now. We sit down at the table like we're about to play. Someone makes a joke about the slow clap cold open.
Kevin loves that.
I act exasperated about that. And then we just do random shit until we go.
Maybe 5 minutes.
You apologize.
Yeah, I apologize to Eric, and then Steven goes, I think we got it. And
yeah, that's it.
and that's the creative process we have now.
Sometimes, like, you know, if there's something that that is just new, like the glasses that we had a couple episodes ago, like Kevin got those from the Oscars.
Yeah, I just got
or like the
them from
hard candies that we used for like
I got from
2 months.
Right, the hard
I got those hard
candy
for Christmas.
The hard candy saga, because that was in Homeland. That was in Homeland.
Was that in Homeland?
That is my favorite cold open thing we've done because it evolved every time.
Well,
Like,
same with like the
Lemon grab.
Lemon grab.
Lemon
Oh,
grab.
Lemon grab trilogy, yeah.
The
lemon grab's
lemon
around
grab.
here somewhere.
I enjoy that we
Yeah,
cut
shut in the
back
corner.
Yeah.
on the candy one because it ends
Yeah.
with me.
I know that was great because like at first
Oh,
it's just first it's just like Josh being obnoxious with it, and then it's like then I have one, and then it's like where is that coming from? And it cuts to Eric, and he's
That one
got
was really great because we shot those episodes in such quick succession.
Yes.
Yeah, we did all of that in like 2 weekends or something.
Yeah, we had like some long weekends or something like that, and we just crushed those episodes, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And we had that bowl of candy. Usually when we shoot 2 episodes, the second cold open will be much better because we'll have thought of something during our first session.
Exactly.
So I'm sure you've noticed that the episodes come in pairs a lot of the time now. And so when the second one in the pair will usually have the better cold open.
I'll release an unedited.
That's some good Patreon content right there.
Our unedited freaking
5
cold open
minutes of,
bullshit.
like, okay, what if we?
What if we
We got a cow.
guys
5
slow
minutes?
clap, guys? No.
I think we got it.
Yeah, someone even commented slow cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
We gotta bring the slow clap. It's about time for another slow clap.
See, eventually now
Now
that
I
we
know we can't do it because you just said it. Right.
No, we can't do it.
no,
Yeah, we can. This is behind the
we
scenes.
can definitely do it.
This is like tweeting. It doesn't mean anything.
It'll be its glorious return.
Yes.
And I'll, yeah.
All right, next question.
Next question.
Will we see the return of the table cam?
Maybe.
We talked about that
I
a
don't
little
know.
bit ago. Because of the way our cameras work now and stuff, it's much harder to do that.
It's
And
actually in some ways it's actually easier now.
Oh, never mind.
We would just need another camera.
Yeah, we just need another
Right,
camera.
which we're still paying off our current
We need another
cameras.
GoPro. So it's easier because Eric just syncs all the cameras now and sort of switches it that way. Before we had to like actually have someone there and like have the camera plugged in and everything. But I don't know. I go back and forth with using the mat. I think we're at the point where we have to start using the mats again because we're at high enough level that we have too many AoEs and too many effects that require precise.
We've been missing them. Even if we don't use the exact grid system, we need some sort of thing where we can organize ourselves. And we had talked about we might get some miniatures.
We should Hero Forge our.
Let's look at Hero Forge again today because
Because get Zach to paint them all.
I saw someone who had painted had their painted
Yeah,
visions.
I saw this too.
This is cool because you can change their facial expressions.
Oh, I have like 4 or 5 versions of Vel that I've made on Hero Forge now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I also made
One for every character.
I made one
Except
for
for
every
the show.
character. I don't know if I showed you guys.
No.
Oh, we'll look at them when I go upstairs.
So
that's coming from you, Hero Forge.
So
do you want to be part of
so Table Cam will probably come back in some form or another. I think once we get the audio figured out, it'll be, and maybe once we pay up the GoPros, we can get one more shitty GoPro.
Yeah, that'll probably be the next thing we look at once the audio is
by
sorted
shitty,
out.
I just mean the lowest, the little model.
The cheapo.
Yeah. Let's do it.
The top of Eric's head, everyone.
Let's do it.
No.
Yeah, I just decided to do the bullywugs just to sort of make it feel a little bit different. I'm sure that the thing that I like about the strip is as we move farther out the races, I want to have different areas where we have different races.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that. Yeah, there's like indigenous. Like orcs are all like in one area. Like we almost never see orcs.
Yeah, because they're
But we know that they're in the world. They're just
Yeah.
like like half a world away from us, kind of like.
So I don't have any plans to do goblins and kobolds yet. I imagine that they are
Oh.
some
Everything okay?
Now it's spring.
Buffering.
buffer.
What does that even mean?
It went yellow in the corner next to Wisecast play.
Oh no.
It went orange where it was red before.
It's red now.
Man, right when I started to get all sugared up and caffeinated too.
You guys want to go get barbecue tonight?
Ooh. Santa Maria Slow Cooker on Magnolia.
I could see that
Or
happening.
Hollywood Barbecue.
Wait,
now.
they had
What?
they
I like
they,
Hollywood Bay Barbecue too.
they
Hollywood
already
Way
had
Barbecue
the,
is
they already
pretty
had the
good. I've been there
cooker
before.
Yeah,
going
they got the
when we
smoker
drove
Was that
going.
the is that the
that's the one on
the
that-
handy mart?
Yeah.
five
Uh-huh.
the misters outside?
think
Okay,
it's
back
I could
now.
see that
Sure.
happening. Yeah.
Hey everyone!
Welcome
back.
Sorry about that.
For Tiny Tavern, I'm considering pixies.
Oh yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Actually, and they'd be like your size too. So
They'd be, I mean, yeah. They'd be sexy. They'd be very sexy.
Oh, okay, good.
That's how I create characters.
yeah, because I was really hoping.
How
for
hot
double
is this character?
I do the same thing.
How sexy can
It's
I
like
make
this is
this?
the hotness rating on all of your NPCs.
Yeah, you roll a d10, and that's how it determines how hot your character is. My friends, okay.
Isn't that charisma?
No.
No, you could be charismatic but ugly as balls.
Right, but you can also take a
Our
high
president.
charisma.
He's charisma. He's
Who?
not our president. He's not not a
Divide by 2, so things could be dangerous.
Yeah. I think D4 was like the number of chicks at the bar, and then like D10 were how attractive one of them
Okay.
was, and then I don't remember what the 6 and 8 and
Are we? We're running again, right?
I don't quite know.
Okay, that might be for the best.
Good lord.
See,
Because it's back. And so
Do we have the chat room? Maybe they can tell us if they can still see us.
Can you see us?
I can't. It's just buffering.
Buffering my computer.
Takes a lot to make a stew.
Laughter too.
God.
I miss those. I miss that.
That was a distinct time.
If I could wipe one memory from my head, I would probably wipe all memory of Too Many Cooks from my memory.
Oh.
So you
So
can
I
watch it
could
again.
watch
Just
it
so you
again
can watch
for the
it
first
again.
time.
Yeah.
I tried to show Broom Chakalaka to some friends,
Uh-huh.
and they got 2 minutes in and they're like, "This isn't funny. Like, why are we watching this?"
You have
Oh
to
my
keep
God.
watching.
I know.
The whole point is that it just keeps going.
Yeah, and they're like, I think this is going too like this is too long. The joke is played out. It's like the fact that it's going too long is the joke. Like
You
you're not
haven't
like,
even seen the
like,
joke
you're
yet.
not even
Like,
like it's going too long. It's like you know. At that point, I realized it was not that kind of group nor that kind of night to bring out.
well, it's
Broom
like,
Chakalaka.
well, they're like, oh, what is this? They're just trying to sell like a weird broom or something.
Well,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
we're still
get it.
going. We're still, sorry everyone. We thought we weren't going.
Oh, hello! I didn't see you there. We were just discussing some.
Broom
Some
Chakalaka.
broom chakalakas.
It starts with another question. We're so off topic. I don't remember what it is.
All order is broken down.
Um,
I'm the captain now.
yeah. Well, there was the Tieflings Dragonborn Asimar.
Asimar, yes.
Okay, I'll go down the list. Tieflings are drow. Tieflings are drow that are the elves that didn't come with the current elves through the other side of the strip. This is all on the wiki.
Really? Oh man, I haven't looked at the wiki in a while.
This is old stuff. This is Coal Iron Wars.
Brian, no.
Wait.
So
Speaking of jokes that
Tiefling are drow that so the drow are basically the elves that stayed on the far side of the strip, right? Or the ones that didn't make it out to be blessed by Lunan. So they're not immortal. They have short little average span lives.
And they suck.
They do. They
suck.
really do. Because they don't have any massive culture. They're just sort of like hunter-gatherers that live inside the core of the planet. And there's no loth, and there's no spiders, and there's no driders.
Yeah, I guess without all the Spider Queen stuff, they're sort of
Lame.
shitty. Yeah,
Yep.
they're just like shitty
Look
elves.
what I did.
They just made drow shitty elves.
But the tiefling are... So the drow were super jealous of the elves being immortal up on the surface, so they sort of sought to find their own mortality, and they injected themselves with demon blood.
Oh, okay.
With like sort of demon devil blood, and not
So-
necessarily injecting themselves, but whatever the magical version of injecting yourself is.
I'm sorry, because I know you said this is on the wiki, but for some reason, I probably read this and forgot about it already.
Yeah.
So, are there still drow, or did
Uh-huh.
they all turn into
No,
tieflings?
some of them...
So like a faction of them.
Yeah, a
was gonna
faction
say-
of them turned into tieflings.
Because how does this separate from Tiefling douche that Josh tried to punch in the face? And
That guy was just a demon, right?
Yeah, he wasn't a tiefling. He was
I
just a
thought he was a
demon who
tiefling,
he looked similar.
Yeah.
But he was actually a...
Yeah, because he was just like a smaller humanoid demon.
Okay.
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 So that's...
Devil.
There is separate.
That's
Okay.
tiefling. Yeah. So there's still drow.
He was a devil, right? Not a demon?
Yeah, he was a devil. And
the
then
distinction is important in D&D.
And then there's and so then so there's tiefling. So they're separate from the drow. Dragonborn. I don't know yet.
Haven't worked out Dragonborn. You got a Warforged solution.
Yeah,
though.
got
Hasn't aired yet.
Warforged hasn't aired yet, but it's
Right.
coming.
It's
Right,
so
look for
cool.
next
I
episode.
never thought I would say that about Warforged, but
I've made I've taken the word.
Reforged?
What I don't like about the traditional Warforged is that they get totally divorced from the setting in Eberron where they make sense to just thrown into like random D&D. So I've found a way to do them in a way that I think is interesting, but also sort of it has some drawbacks. You're not like I'm just a human with a machine body. It's like
I
there's
really like your take on
there's
this.
they have some things where like they only have memory. They only have a 2-year memory.
Yeah,
and
we talk about all of this in next episode.
they don't get
so
healed
you
by
can-
traditional magic. But
Oh,
you
there
can
are
heal
two.
them
You're
with,
right.
You can heal them with fabricate and with mending and that kind of thing. That's
Oh,
how
cool.
they get healed. And when they die,
Oh, man.
you can heal them from when they reach 0 hit points. They die. But you can heal them back up with fabricate. But
Feels like a Warforged
their memory
healer.
their memory gets wiped.
I could
So
heal an army of Warforged.
they lose all of their class levels
Oh, wow.
and things like that when you die. But you can come, you can just get rebuilt essentially, like re-rolling a new character. But your memory is wiped. So
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Do you have any other off the wall races that you've addressed?
No.
there's Faye out there. Oh,
Anything with
Asimar.
Asimar?
I
you
don't know.
haven't done Ganassi, have you?
what is
Which one's
it?
it?
Those are the elemental people.
We've done a ton. Wherever they are, there's probably some people like that on Syraxis
Right,
who
like
are more
blessed
just
by,
they're more like
Ooh.
probably the Avatar, like
I got
vendors.
I got an idea. Call them Sphinx touched,
Yeah, exactly.
and there we go.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah.
But Asimar, no one ever really wants to play Asimar. But
Which ones are they asking?
Asimar, the angelic version of Tiefling. So
Oh, okay.
if you're
so they have the angel blood in them
Gotcha.
somewhere. I haven't dealt too much with angels because I think that like the traditional vision of angel is so like Judeo-Christian oriented that I almost don't feel like it necessarily fits in a band. So
I like that you've taken, we've talked a little bit, you've taken each god and basically been
Yeah.
like, these are what their servitors look like. And
yeah.
there isn't like an absolute, white feather wings, plane of good angel, which I like. But, you have the mechanical servants of, the plane of law and of Nara. And you have, we've touched on it, although we... Thank goodness I haven't seen one yet, but the meta angels are basically just animate stat blocks.
Yeah, they look like missing gnome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pokemon.
cool.
Yeah, but they have their HP and their attack values are just their bodies.
I have a great encounter planned for it'd be like I don't think we'll ever get to it, so I'll just talk about it.
Sure.
It's a boss. It's meta, but he's a boss, right? And he has the ability to force any die roll to be a 1.
Oh.
Just all die rolls made while fighting him count as 1s.
Okay.
Isn't that controlling over Dika though?
No, because why Dika would be like, if you make a die roll that's for something randomly, meta is saying like we are understanding that this is a game and we're choosing like that we have the power to say these are all ones. It's a lot of choice or like forcing something. Where Nara would be like all die rolls are 10s.
Right.
Dika would be like everything is a die roll.
Mm-hmm.
Like roll your initiative every round.
And meta goes, we're rolling dice. I've decided that
these are all ones.
I've set all the dice with the one
But
facing up.
the strategy to that battle would be like, because if you try to hit him, you're gonna miss. You're gonna epic fail every time. So the thing would be like, I'm gonna try to miss him, and then you fail your miss, so you hit.
That's funny.
So you have to like really do the meta.
I'm still waiting for the meta cleric and one of the abilities that I've seen for like law and all that kind of stuff is you just make a die roll like an 11 or something like that. And I always thought like a meta cleric would just be like, this is a 20, and you like roll it and then you build it up and then it's like, yeah, my meta power says it's a 20, so
exactly. that would be meta. Yeah, meta clerics would be I choose their die to be 20, or I choose it to be whatever number, or roll 2 dice, choose the higher would be a meta power.
Okay. Interesting. So I guess we're. Do we have more
That's
questions?
Asimov.
Yeah, Asimov.
Someone said Dragonborn as Lizardmen, just reskinning them.
Yeah, I do want Lizardmen in the last colony down to the south.
Oh, yeah.
We were going to touch on that a little bit.
We didn't talk about gnomes either.
No, but gnomes are in the race guide. They have information.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that they were in the race guide. You're right.
No, I will drown every gnome if that is the voice you choose.
They all die. The Carthesians rejoice.
Will the party ever fight a Teresk?
Maybe one day. I mean, Tereska's CR 30.
Yeah.
So you don't fight it so much as you've aligned the story so that you have a way to defeat it.
Yes.
Or you have min-maxed.
It's like fighting a god or any of the other like giant CR.
Yeah, maybe eventually. I do think that there's one out there.
So you think there is a Teresk somewhere?
I think so.
That makes sense.
I like to think so.
Every planet has one.
Yeah, that's what.
I think every setting needs to have one. Yeah.
I agree, or at least something like it.
Yeah. I don't know if it looks quite the same.
We have one here on Earth. It's called Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Would we ever consider doing Threshold live?
I've thought about. I mean, it would be pretty easy for us to just
with the way that YouTube can do it now, because we're streaming through YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So it would be pretty easy. Unfortunately, if we did do the Threshold live, I would like to bring our old recording system back so we could switch it with the cameras. But I don't think we can even do that.
Yeah, that's the thing is with our current setup. If we were to do Threshold live, it would look very much like this.
Yeah.
So we couldn't go multicam if we were trying to live stream
because we do our switching in post. We used to do our switching live, and then we switched to post because it meant that it was a little bit easier on Eric to like not have to schedule around sitting there and switching. He can do it in like 10-minute bursts.
Yeah. It was one fewer person that had to be here and be sitting here the whole time.
So I think like if we did do it, it would be something very similar to the setup that you're seeing now, where it's just kind of us at the table and one cam instead of like the 3 separate.
We could do both, have the GoPros running, and then at live do like a webcam, and then
what we do plan to do eventually, if there's ever a fundraiser we want to do, is called microtransaction RPG.
This is awesome.
in which it's an RPG where there's a mechanic where you, the viewers, can. Well, we do it for a fundraiser or something, or for charity. Maybe the next time that the RPG charities are going.
Yeah, there's a bunch of. We should look at the RPG charities next time because I've wanted to do one of those for a couple of years.
But essentially, there's things in the game where all the characters you have as viewers the ability to like sort of Hunger Games style, like buy them equipment or make something happen through a donation. Mm-hmm. Like you make a donation and suddenly you get to say what the next thing that happens is. And you totally unbalance the game, and we just have to deal with it.
It's like I like Josh a lot. I'm going to spend $50 to buy him.
Right?
Buy him a shovel. God armor.
Yeah, God. Yeah.
The most popular character just is like decked out.
Yeah. But then one person spends enough money, which is like I'm going to kill him.
That's true. Yeah. He has a heart attack.
I was going to have to get out my phone and start spending my own money to buy stuff.
That's how we get Brian's money.
Yeah.
We threaten this character.
So we would like to do something live, especially microtransaction RPG. We're like, because the only reason I think to do something live like this would be to let you guys have a direct influence on what's happening, and I've never seen that before, so it's something I'd like to explore.
Yeah, some sort of incorporated audience interaction would be. I mean, otherwise, there's no real reason for us to be live other than just, I guess, immediacy. I mean, because of the way that our shows work, like, there's not really much would change in the way that we're actually playing the game if we were just playing a normal session live.
Yeah.
Other than, like, if our
Breaks.
cameras die, you would see that instead of us being able to edit out the part where we go, oh crap, the camera died.
Yeah. So look for microtransaction RPG. We'll
I'll
think of the rules.
I'll look into some of those gaming marathon, like
because that would be. I'm sure that we could maybe get more
those
people to jump in on the view if it's something like that.
For charities. Like I know like a lot of the other groups that I've talked to, like the people personally, they all do like those big gaming weekends where they raise charity stuff. So.
Is anyone planning on attending a con this year?
I think
that's the question we're all asking ourselves.
Yes.
I think the Gen Con ship has sailed for
It's
us.
so expensive. It's like we could either go to Gen Con or we could go to Japan.
Well, I also don't think I can get time off work.
Yeah.
Right now,
The year that we went, it was kind of a perfect storm. We had the time off. We could. We were all sort of like working jobs that we didn't necessarily have to be there for.
Yeah.
We had I think I had a couple of hiatus days and
I wasn't
it's too early to tell.
Wedding.
right.
It's too early to tell, but I know the company I'm working for now has a presence at Comic-Con. I'm hoping I can get on the team that goes to Comic-Con, but I don't know.
Awesome.
I don't know for sure because I just started that this week.
There's a lot of cons down in Los Angeles, and I've been wanting to start to go to some of those.
Especially like if anybody in California, LA area, like I still like I'd like to at least do a day at like Kamikaze and a lot of the like local cons.
Yeah.
We're going to a Ren Fair tomorrow.
We're going to a Ren Fair tomorrow.
Last minute Ren Fair, get your tickets now.
I went to.
We need to get our tickets.
I know. I was gonna go after this.
But I'm gonna go with you guys.
I went to a coffee convention a couple months ago. That was a lot of fun.
I always, with my Pathfinder presence, I'm always at Strategicon, which is at the LA
That's true.
Hilton.
You consistently are.
Which is at every Memorial Day, Labor Day, and President's Day.
Every other weekend.
Pretty much every other
Every
weekend.
so often, Casey will disappear, and we're like, "Where's Casey?" Yeah. Oh, it must be a strategic
And someone always says, "Didn't that just happen?"
because it happens 3 times a year.
We always have barbecues those days. So like, hey, is Casey coming to the barbecue? No, he's at Strategicon. Like, wasn't that last month? Like,
So I'm consistently at those. I'll be at E3 for work stuff, and then I could go to Comic-Con through work if I had a strong desire.
If you wanted to be murdered by a trampling crowd.
Yeah,
I like Comic-Con.
I've never been.
I have never been.
It just looks like too many people.
It's a lot of people. Yeah. It gets bigger every year too.
Yeah.
I want to go outside.
Short answer. Local stuff. If you're in Southern California, we try to go to, but the bigger stuff like Gen Con, even Comic Con is sort of
not a Threshold Con. It's just a picnic in a park.
Indeed.
Like 4 balloons.
Yeah.
It'd be us at one table and then one of those birthday parties. Yeah. We see it every weekend at the other table.
And the birthday party has more people.
Yeah. We'll just get a nice sign.
Well, we're using their bounce house for our.
We struck a deal.
We went halvesies on the bounce house.
We got another question?
Yes, we do.
All right.
Any chance we'll see the old Swamp Gang again?
Oh,
yes.
The Homeland folks.
Well, probably not. Probably not. Probably not Slick. I think Slick is pretty happy where he is.
I talked to Patrick. He pretty much intends for Slick to stay retired unless someone like blows up that brothel that he bought or something.
A long night.
The long night.
The long night.
But I think we'll see Clarion and Guillemon pretty soon.
Yeah.
Bernard is Renee is
Renard.
Renard.
What happened to
Renard is
Renard?
Renee Slick.
That's right.
Yes, that's
Renee
that's the thing
Beauchamp.
Steven kept doing the entire homecoming.
Renard is currently a villain, so we can't.
He's not really a villain.
No,
He's a villain to you.
I might
I
forget
think-
Jamie's the
I think
villain.
Jamie's the
Renard is a
villain.
villain, and
Sarah.
Leslie.
We might actually see Renard too.
Yeah.
What
Probably-
happened to him? Did he just like be
He's
like,
chasing
oh, I guess
Jamie.
He
I
went
guess
back
Jamie's
down-
not
He
here,
went
and
back
he,
down to his windmill.
that's
well,
right.
I think he's pretty sure that Jamie's being hidden
Somewhere in there.
just
Well,
in Merrington.
whatever-
He knows
depending-
that he can't do anything.
Depending on how Jamie does things, that could we'll see how Renard
he's
reacts.
dead.
Well, that's good. I was
He's probably
hoping-
not. He's not dead.
He went back down to the southern coast to the windmill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not dead.
Hopefully,
Cool.
yeah, Jamie didn't send him to the
So yes, most of them, but probably not Slick, unless Patrick really decides to bring him out of retirement because he's basically he's
I
happy.
think we'll
and-
see Clarion and Gilmon pretty soon.
Yeah.
Josh, are you worried that the Thothesians are going to come and take you away for toting those guns?
Oh,
These ones?
oh yeah, yeah. right here, the howitzer and
If you only knew the push-up contests they lost.
Josh loses every
Is this
push-up
directly
contest.
person? Guns?
Yeah.
Or is it Clarion?
Yeah.
We're talking about.
Clarion's already been
Clarion's
dead.
got
Clarion's
He's
captured.
already
It
been.
must be. Does
I mean-
Otto have any guns?
No, but he
Does he have
made those
gunpowder?
No, he had the fireball.
Oh, he's just
like little
fire pepper
gems, that,
things.
which look kind of like bullets.
He's got
I-
stuff
you know-
that's kind of works like gunpowder-ish.
I
but it's
don't
not-
think. I mean, that's not a question that I can answer because of the world building. But my impression of Otto is that he was always kind of skimming the surface of something that might be considered like science or invention, but was still far enough into magic that he didn't understand it at a root level. I feel like the Thothesians and the whole idea of guns is that it's the unraveling of magic to the base science, and that's what they're trying to prevent. They're trying to prevent like a super weapon coming about that is accessible to non
to the masses, right?
To the masses, and even though there are grand implications that Otto is inferring later on, he's at the very beginning of it, and we won't see those implications till
And I don't
later.
think Otto's aware of...
So yeah, the bottom is Josh is not worried, and Otto is not worried about those consequences.
But he probably
right now.
should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if Otto is aware that those things exist.
I don't think he knows that the Thothesian police these kinds of things
Yeah,
right now.
I know that
so.
he's an academic that is trying to go as far as he can into his work, and maybe he is in danger of stepping on toes or trudging into that kind of territory that could be dangerous. We have talked about that his work in
his work in this stuff is he's on the cusp of developing something that because he's like handing stuff out to people, so he's on the cusp of being able to sort of mass produce.
It could be that
stuff.
because his craft and him like what he's working on is so small and under wraps. Maybe it hasn't, like the word of it hasn't come to any Ephesians, or it hasn't been discovered.
Or maybe they're
yet.
keeping an eye on you.
Or maybe they are keeping an eye on you.
Or maybe they're looking specifically.
I mean, Ka is
for,
right
like,
there, so maybe this is when it's like that oh shit moment.
Yeah.
Like,
it's going to be really interesting. I feel for Ka and Otto right now because they are sort of in a back seat in some ways.
but they don't know that as characters.
No,
Otto
I feel bad for you guys as
Otto
players.
is in a backseat. Ka's not in a backseat.
Okay. I just like
Ka has just led you to believe that he is in a backseat.
Fair enough.
Ooh.
I just
intrigue.
I thought Patrick was talking about being frustrated. But
I think he's frustrated with not having in the individual sessions. There's not a lot for him to do.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because he's so behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Understood.
Oh, I think we're buffering again.
How about we just rotate in place?
Do you want me to ask you that?
What?
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Intrigue.
Okay.
Intrigue. Are we back?
We're working on it.
I have an idea for a campaign now. I've been cooking for like a whole hour on this idea.
Oh man, a whole hour?
Yeah,
That's an eternity in Josh thought time.
oh my god, so much.
so much mental energy.
I do want to DM something.
Ooh.
Okay.
And I thought I was just gonna DM something like totally separate, but I think it would be really fun to do in the Threshold universe.
What do you
What
think?
is it?
Maybe I'll keep cooking on it and tell you.
Okay, you can't say that. You can't be like,
Asshole.
I'm thinking about this, but you know what? I'm not.
Where's the gun?
If I blew the reveal of Tiny Tavern today, you're talking about whatever. You're
All right. I'll talk
you
about it. Should I talk about it while we're on camera?
Yeah, why not?
Sure.
Are we like up and
Well, how
running?
does somebody
now?
pull it?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Oh wait. Oh yeah.
Yeah, do it now.
Josh has been thinking
Okay.
about this for a whole hour.
All right, I've been thinking about this for an entire hour. I do want to see more of the inner world, and I think what
Oh, this doesn't work.
That thing sucks.
What I'd like to do is I'd like for like a message in a bottle to float up on the shore that was the logs of a lost adventure from hundreds of years ago into this like unexplored area.
Ooh,
cool.
And I want to start the first episode with they have somehow repaired this long lost portal gate, and they have it's just enough to get a party of 3 through, and then the gate breaks down, and they have to make it from there and find their way back, or like do their exploring. I don't have a MacGuffin yet in mind, but there's a reason they're there, and there is
Maybe
a
they
reason.
have to map something.
That sounds like. Hey, that was
Or maybe
that was close to my early concept for Homeland. I was going to have you guys be cartographers trying to map Nexus routes.
The thing is, I don't want a lot of elves, so I think I want it to be. There's another reason.
No
use
elves.
the chromo rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's
Those
the
rocks have been there
chroma
for
rocks,
forever.
Yeah.
There's
No,
any
no,
number
they're
of places
for.
you could set it that are apart from
Just
the
Make them
Homeland.
very
But,
random soldiers from.
That's what I want to see. I want to see
play Sombra.
some
Yeah.
alien feeling territory where we have.
You could take us to a totally different plane too. Like it's a different plane of exist. Like it's the plane of chaos or something.
I don't want a different plane. I really
You just
want to
want
see.
a different.
I just want a different setting in the physical
Okay.
world.
That could still be super interesting to like.
And I want to
See
see
it in the
things
corner of the
like
strip.
float stone kind of where like there's a
Yeah.
a landscape where there's like giant floating rocks in it, or and like maybe like moss is built up on them, or something's happening. And
Yeah.
bizarre stuff.
Yeah, ferment. Yeah,
I would love to
spend
see that.
another hour on that and let us know where you get.
And also,
It's smelling great. We're gonna
It's-
put the
yeah.
lid back on the pressure
good
cooker.
so far.
Let it-
Yeah.
Okay.
also, don't forget about the unobtainium. You have to get the unobtainium.
No, we're
Ew.
just playing. Yeah.
No.
Whoa.
Watch yourself.
No other credit.
Do we have more questions?
Yeah. Brian.
Yeah.
Do you have any insight that you'd like to share about your predicament with Jamie?
Oh. No. I mean,
Mysteries.
at this point, the writing's on the wall, right?
Don't say too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do things that are fun for me to do.
Great. And will you be back anytime soon? Maybe reprising Brock.
I want to play Brock so bad. For those who don't know, I made this bullywog archer character who's a Rambo. He turned into bullywog Rambo, had amazing stats, and I played him one session and I whiffed every roll. Every roll.
Yeah.
And so I want to play him so bad to get some sort of redemption. I think at this point I'm going to play Pawaku before I play Brock. Because if we're going to pirate campaign, and I'm asked to play in pirate campaign, I'm going to play as Pawaku. Because what other campaign is good for a person who can't spend more time?
More than like an hour out of water.
10 minutes.
Is it 10 minutes?
It's 10 minutes. Pawaku can't spend more than 10 minutes out of water before he starts taking damage. And so.
What a nice curse.
Yeah.
Oh, it was. But the thing is he saw it as a blessing, and that's the thing. Is like he could have had it cured by a removed curse spell or something like that, but he said like this is a blessing from my god.
Pawaku's
I can breathe
Pawaku's
underwater
a
now.
water druid, right?
Yeah.
And so being turned into a fish person is, in his mind, a blessing.
Yeah.
And
Which
so,
maybe it is.
maybe.
So now
don't know
we need,
how his
what
god
we do
works.
need is Buako to start breeding so that we can have Zora.
There you go.
I did for a while have an idea where there were like mermaids that lived off the coast of Marenton and were like gonna maybe like come to some kind of military aid at some point.
That's
So-
so cool.
So to answer your question, I'm going to play Buaku before I play Brock, but I hope Brock comes very soon.
I do think that there's a gonna be a episode of Heroes of the Fane Coast in not too long. Maybe
Oh,
after
cool.
Pirate Campaign, do an episode of Heroes of the Fane Coast. I think I've discussed this with. I'm not going to say it on camera because it speaks to the decision of Jamie's decision. Well, I get, but
Speaks
anyway.
to something of Jamie's
Yeah,
something.
but I do want to do an episode of Heroes of the
Now you know why I give him that last name.
Heroes of the Fane Coast. Next question.
How do you trickle in culture without spewing exposition?
Town time.
Yeah,
More or less.
2 words. Town time. A lot of the time, it's just things like letting the characters experience it in their day to day, like doing it really just one detail at a time. Because I don't really like exposition dumps, especially in an RPG. It's really boring, and the players aren't really going to remember it as soon as it's come out of my mouth anyway.
Unless you can turn one of the players into your exposition dump, then even then it's kind of tricky. But
Yeah, and so a lot of the time what I like to do is just do one detail at a time or figure out the details of the culture that are going to matter to the characters, because then they're going to remember them. Like, the things we remember are like Faraday Goose.
Yeah.
And...
Bread bowls.
Yeah, and things like that are...
Twisty bread.
Yeah.
And
A lot of
moons.
food.
I feel like we have to interact with moons so often that
Yeah,
it's
with
like we all know that
Well, like that, elves are like really only
One
at
goal.
work for like 2 hours every day.
Yeah, so like little
That's just
details
annoying.
that are...
As the elf.
Yeah, well, you've gotten used to human time too much.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just got to do it one detail at a time and find the details that are going to matter to your players, because the rest of it is just kind of fluff anyway. It's stuff that like I keep in my head until they're forced to interact with it, and then they'll be like, "Oh, okay, so this matters now," and then they'll remember it for the future because it mattered in that moment.
Yeah, it's better to not do things that aren't significant to the moment at hand, basically. Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, couple questions for Pamela. First, who is Christine's god?
Nora.
Nora. Okay, and then the second one was Gregory Nostromo.
Oh! Somehow I knew this was gonna
The
come up.
ex-husband or still
No,
husband.
okay, so they're still married. If you'll remember, last time they kind of really had time together. Gregory was upset because Christine gave the Easter position to Sue Easter,
Right.
which is the natural progression.
Essentially a rival.
Essentially a rival to the
Yeah.
Nostromos, where the Nostromos were mad because it's like, we took this. Like, you know, in theory, like, because you are an extension of our house, you took Easterton.
Yeah.
And so the Nostromos could have claimed
We want
Easterton
this.
for them. Yeah, and they want it because they want more land.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to squash their rivals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, it came down to Christine was mad because, like, no, that's not the way of things. Like, there's an order to this. And Gregor was mad. He's like, no, you know, gave it over to our rivals.
Yeah.
And it's like Christine was also thinking of herself and like, well, for her position is already so precarious being a woman in this standing.
As we've demonstrated.
So it's like for her, like, this just made sense.
Sure.
So last time they met, they had like this really big argument, and so they're not really on speaking terms. And I think it also becomes more interesting if Gregory is a foil to Christine.
Yeah, Gregory's I don't like dealing too many stories with Gregory because he's boring. There's only two things that can happen. Either he and Christine fight and one of them has to kill the other,
Yeah.
or they make up and then they're gonna like retire to their thing, or I have Gregory rolling around as a full-time NPC, or a similar thing happens now where they go, well, we are married, goodbye.
Yeah.
Like enjoy hanging out with all of these male friends while you're in the homeland.
Yeah.
You know, like.
So it's
just better narratively for them to be fighting, and it'll set up a conflict that may or may not get resolved later.
Yeah, if we go back and do war things, I imagine the Nostromo's will do something.
Yeah, it's an interesting, because that alliance is very interesting, especially in terms of Anastasia.
Yeah, that's what I was
like,
thinking about.
Christine, you could go get the Nostromos to our side, and that would be a big deal in fighting this war.
Yeah. Because Meriton's such a strategic point.
Well, just more of it's a ton of troops up in the north.
Also, they've got Sherry, and then if you get a major port in Merenton, you can almost kind of
pincer.
Yeah, you have two fronts all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention, it's another army.
Yeah.
That you could add to your forces.
It's another of the great houses.
Yeah.
It's interesting how things work out.
Yeah. So that's what.
Jeez.
Next question.
Something.
Question for Kevin.
Yes.
Which spell do you are you excited for Vel to learn in the future?
Oh goodness.
Wish.
You know.
Time's out.
No, wish is boring.
Wish.
I don't think so.
It's everything.
It's more interesting because
Steven twists your words.
Yes.
And then
Sure, except that I can use it to just duplicate other spells, and then he doesn't get say in it. It's only if I actually use it to make a wish.
It's boring if you use it not as a wish.
I know.
I'm just gonna cross that.
So
line
what
out.
spell are you most excited for?
So the previous answer to that was animate objects, but I have animate objects now. That was like the thing that I was the most looking forward to. I guess if we're looking at like really end game, I'm really looking forward to True Polymorph. Because that spell is hilarious.
You're a badger now.
It's sort of the ultimate culmination of transmutation-y things. And the fact that like if you concentrate on it for an hour, it becomes permanent. So you could turn a dragon into a pebble permanently. If they fail that save. And
cracker.
I mean, granted, like it's harder to do with like something like a dragon because of legendary resistance and stuff, but that idea still exists.
But you just gotta like give it 3 other spells that it can't not save on.
Yeah, and it also
wear it down.
it also like that lets you like Vel could turn himself into a dragon permanently if he had that spell. Like 9th level spells are bonkers.
Everything is just everything.
Yeah, exactly. Which I feel is the ultimate expression of the transmutation-y things that Vel is doing. Let's see. I can't think of... I'm blanking on more immediate ones, but I have a whole list of spells that I'm looking forward to that I could pull out. Let's see, it's around here somewhere.
So I really like this question. If you had the option to play one of the other players' characters... which one would you like to play as?
That's a great question.
Ka, because I'm not adherent to any rules.
Ooh. You know what? Christine, because I love rules. I want to challenge myself to play Christine.
You want to be the party leader and have to make all the hard decisions?
Yeah, through all of her constraints.
Yeah.
What if you do turn it into a game where everyone passes around the character sheets?
You have to learn rules.
We thought about that once, yeah.
It'd be interesting, like just as a RPG mechanic in general. Like at a certain point, like you have to pass your character sheet over.
That would be interesting.
I wouldn't mind playing Christine because I am pretty squishy on the day-to-day, and I want to be a tank for once and just be able to just go in there and wail on people.
Oh, and then Steven goes, 19 hit? Nope. Okay, nothing else.
He's out of commission right now, but I would like to play Rasper. Mostly because I love the improvisational fighting style of his, and I feel like describing Rasper's combat would be so fun.
Yeah.
Also, he's got some kind of blessed dice thing going on for him. So
It's called Beginner's Luck.
Right, because that was like Josh's first character ever.
Yeah, it's called the first character luck.
Yep. He got transformed into a bear, and his strength went down.
That's amazing.
That's right. I forgot. You got swallowed by the swallow. That was.
That's right.
Yeah, the episode is Rasper Hawkborn and no good,
Very
terrible,
bad day.
rotten day or whatever.
Casey?
I kind of want to play Jamie something. I think like some of the powers that are invested in there.
You did, right? For an episode?
Were you part of the Jamie
Oh yeah,
Christmas
Jamie
special?
Jamie clones. No, I
yes.
think Jamie's got a more interesting. I think Jamie's got a very interesting arc, and like I think the balancing act of like everybody thinks I'm acting one way, but there's always this like secret. I'm Jamie, and I want really big things. I think that's really interesting, and
Playing a character that's power hungry is
Yeah.
is really interesting because a lot of like heroes have noble pursuits, and Jamie's not like a lot of rogues are like glitter, like they want shinies, they want loot, but he doesn't necessarily care so much about the money. He wants the status,
Yeah, he
which
wants
is a
the
really
power.
the really interesting thing because if you if you can't steal like the crown jewels from the king and get status from that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting seeing a character.
Yeah, he wants the king to give him the crown jewels
Yeah.
because he's so important. That's the distinction for Jamie.
that, and for the rest of my life, I will always covet Patrick's like. I just want a character who repeats it. I think that is like genius, and I was like, oh my god! Like I've thought that ever since it happened, and I think that is a stroke of genius that I will never have.
Ka?
Yeah, for Ka.
That's actually like a mechanic written into the Kenku class.
Is
too.
it?
Yeah.
Their mimicry, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But just to
I haven't
I mean,
seen it.
the decision to make it like only mimicry based with few exceptions,
Yeah.
that was more of a Patrick decision.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah, because
I've played with Tengu before, and like
you could have
they
it
can
be
speak
where,
any language.
Yeah, where they explain things, but we really
Yeah, he took the
narrow
perfect
focus.
mimicry trait from that one thing and just decided that was going to be like one of his defining pieces of that character, which was really cool.
He knocks out
And
a park every time.
and
like, yeah.
which ended up changing the Thesians as a whole. Because if you notice in Homecoming, they talk in like a normal people
I
voice.
did notice that, and it was kind of funny because that was pre-Ka.
Yeah, it was yeah.
And it gets to one of my favorite things, which is doing character voices.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's
So right, and he gets to do all the
I
voices.
get to try and
I
get to actually try and mimic everybody
I know. I
else's
kind of
character
want.
voice.
I know. I kind of want to make a character that's from the north, just so I can do a Scottish accent
yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
We got a couple more questions. First one.
Do we want to wrap up?
Yeah, I think the second of the two will be good.
Okay, great.
Does Clarion ever turn into a werewolf while he's a prisoner of the Thauthesians?
That's a good question. We've been I think we consider that. I thought it was. We've pretty much established it's direct moonlight. So like when I think Christine threw a bag over him and that was good enough at one
Or
point.
in a cave. So I think that they have him. There was probably like the first time that happened, and it was like, oh no. And so I imagine they keep him in the dark.
Yep.
During those.
And the
during
brig
these
on a ship
times.
would be down in the hold.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and the last question is, what is your guys' favorite or most memorable threshold moment?
I think we had this one last time.
It's a good one nonetheless.
It's a really good one, and I mean, of course, we've had a lot more moments since then.
I'm gonna just get the obvious one out of the way.
Okay.
Petri dish.
Petri dish. Petri dish is amazing.
Yeah.
Me just picking two random syllables from my DM screen that just happened to sound like Petri dish.
Yeah.
It was the Petri from petrification and the dist from distance. Petri dist. And it was memorable because I realized what I had done the second that I did it.
That was
and you
fun.
guys all realized what I had done the second that I did it. And we just, I think, laughed for like a good 5 minutes.
That was so funny. It was just like, yes, that is his name.
Probably the chase scene to get to Anastasia. Where just like at one point Christine just like has to pick up Otto and then like Vel like stone shifts a wall to block. Like and then like running and then the dragon knight and like having to literally be a knight in shining armor defeating the dragon to rescue the princess. Like that was so much fun.
I think for me it's the Isaiah and Gogana episodes. That was probably not just the most like I think that was one of our finest moments for storytelling, for having like an intriguing like story
exchange of ideas
and maybe just more than telling a story, like challenging what the viewer understands. So
oh god, also the chase scene with Sue Easter and I saw her in the closet and like that moment
hide it in the closet.
We're saving the moon base.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
So you're saying is more chasing.
More chasing.
It seems like we get our
campaign.
It's one long chase.
A chase scene every episode.
On the hull of a ship.
Yeah.
It's a fugitive.
Yeah, we just do a fugitive campaign.
That would be cool. The thing is that you need to be chasing something that's comparable to you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Brian, Kevin?
One of my favorite moments was at the end of season 1 when I had all my ice powers taken away and I had to have that speech, that fireside speech to Christine. That was one of the moments where I felt that was like one of the few moments I felt I did pretty well in the whole role-playing aspect of it.
That was good.
I also got a real kick out of when I tried to dominate Para-Christine in the the ranch timeline. Because I like the idea of the scene I created there with the being in the mind space with the chains.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
I thought that was cool.
That was cool.
And when Christine heals Vel from the axe wound
that whole sequence was great.
Yeah.
Good, yeah. Flying goats was fun.
Oh yeah, the
that
flying
is
goats!
super good. That's I think still to date been your best
animated
object.
Yeah, I haven't got that many opportunities to use it.
It was such a good. It was set up properly, and it was the first time we'd seen that spell, and it was so devastating. And like everything sort of aligned, especially like because those gold goat bars were like something that we were all working towards, the little figures. And
I was happy. Yeah, that went really well.
The image of the flying goats.
I'll let Kevin have the last word. So I like we talked about it a little bit more. I really like the Gogana tossing the people off the ship.
Yeah.
Like
Which
that.
is your game.
Like we had a whole episode where it was like, hey, we're out, and then it was like, grab 2 of them.
We should at the beginning into Gogana's sort of the payoff after the flood. Thanks for watching.
I have the threshold.
Did you say your favorite moment?
I don't think. Are we back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's red now. That's good. Yes. Okay. Great. Hi. Welcome back. Sorry about that. Choosing a favorite moment is really hard for me because a lot of the ones that were named already are definitely like that castle chase scene when we were running from Sue Easter and everything, and that was really good. I also liked that episode we were just talking about. For me personally, I really, this was my answer last time too. I really liked the Tori Osalax arc as a whole. I liked having a foil character. I liked being in opposition of the party through that in like a non-disruptive way.
Yeah.
Because like we were still opposing him. I was just the only one who believed that he was redeemable. And I liked that dynamic. I liked what it said about Vel's character versus some of the other characters in the party. My favorite moment still was when, like, right when Osalax attacked Nod the first time, and Steven just let me do a mage fight with Tori. And it was like, literally, we just came to that, and he's like, don't worry about rules, just help me describe a magic fight back and forth with me.
We'll just make Arcana rolls back and forth.
Yeah, and that was so fun for me. I loved that.
Yeah, I want to do another one of those.
Yeah. So much.
And on that note, thank you guys
so much for joining.
Thank you guys for watching.
For watching.
And for your questions and for your continued support. check us out on the interwebs. If somehow you've just stumbled across this, check out our series. I don't think there's anyone here who's just.
This is there on Twitch.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
So please check us out on YouTube. Continue to watch the episodes. We got some more exciting. We have some sessions coming up that are maybe our darkest hour, but we're ready to. I feel invigorated after this to.
I'm feeling real good going forward now.
To get back into it and to kick some ass and to and all that. So check out our Patreon. Follow these guys on Twitter. And I'll talk to you guys in the YouTube comments. So thank you guys for watching. And Brian, play us out.
Bye.
That's it.
There it is. And the Patrick.
Guys, keep waving, keep smiling.
Oh, are we smiling too?
Oh.
Okay.
I'm gonna wait for a long time.
Well, you deserve it.
It's a shame
You've
Patrick's not here.
You've earned that wave.
There we go.
My arm's getting tired. How does Patrick do this for
I don't
so long?
know. I think it's
You
in the
put-
wrist.
Yeah, it's a very.
Wrist oriented.
Yeah, you gotta. It's more.
Bye,
than
guys.
this. All right, bye. Thank you
Woo!
for
Thanks
watching.
for watching.
I think we got it.
Yeah.
I think we got it.